In the beginning, there was nothing. And then there was the Drunken Peasants Podcast.
I gotta get a witness. No!
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man.
I don't have facts to back this up.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
That's true. Sometimes I cry.
Oh! Lick my butthole, he laughed.
From the strangest corners of the internet, here to bring you opinions of the world from an altered perspective. Here are your hosts, the Drunken Peasants.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Drunken Peasants Podcast. This is episode 1258. It's another Saturday bonus show that's actually on a Saturday. We had to move shows around here and there, but we're back on the Saturday. We were supposed to have the Poisoning the Well guys. I was told earlier today that Sofane couldn't make it, but Pat would be here. Pat isn't here yet. Hopefully he shows up. I hooked him up with everything he needs to. Oh, there he is. He just showed up.
There we go.
He literally just now showed up.
There we go, boys. Let's go.
I probably should have checked my messages. I just sat down.
No problem. No problem. You know, it's okay to be a little tardy.
We were just worried about you is all. With Mama JF going missing,
Oh,
we didn't know what else could have happened.
Yeah.
That wasn't a tardy joke either. That was just a serious worry.
Joke?
No, I didn't say that.
I always thought it was weird. Oh, Billy, can you turn your camera off and then back on again? Because
I can, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because it has you frozen. It is a nice pose, though. All right. Yeah, I always thought it was weird in school when they called it being tardy. I would always laugh at that all the time. Like,
I always wondered if they would use that in like the short bus classes. Like, would they avoid using that around them because it was like too close to home?
I don't know. I don't know when the whole like, you know, like calling someone, you know, regarded, like, and then like shortening that to tard, like when that started. So I don't know, but at least when I was in high school.
Yeah, I liked all my tardy friends. They would show up to class late all the time.
Oh, they were late all the time. So how's it going, Pat? What's going on?
It's going good. I mean,
That's
for
good.
me, not for Fane.
Yeah, like how much information can you divulge?
I mean, he hasn't really told me what I could or couldn't say. I don't think he really gives a shit.
Let's hear it all.
Fane has a habit. We picked up some. We like snowboards. We pick up like weird hobbies that could injure us.
Yes.
And so every couple years, Fane likes to injure himself really, really bad. And what he's discovered in this last year was, well, since we live in the South, being into snowboarding means you don't get much of a season at all unless you were willing to fly way the hell and gone. So we started doing electric skateboards, thinking that was a good idea. And he stepped off a curb weird, kind of like caught the board awkwardly, and it didn't look like anything much. It looked like he just kind of like stepped down and over, and he just kind of rolled over onto his back, and he tore his ACL, ripped his meniscus, and bruised the bones real bad. And then when they got all the x-rays done and all that, they found out he had like blood clots and all that stuff, so he had to go on like blood thinners and get those, and the bone had to heal before they could do anything. And then they had to go in and check to see if the meniscus was actually completely severed or just damaged, because that would make, if they had to completely sew it back together, then it would be like 6 weeks he'd be out, and they had to reattach his ACL and all that shit. And they were able to get him in kind of yesterday, which they found out meniscus is not fully torn. All they had to do is just kind of clean it up a little bit and repair his ACL, but he is in immense amount of pain right now and probably on a bunch of really fun
yeah, that's what I was. That's the silver lining. That's the silver lining of
Yes.
that cloud right there.
Getting all that. So he was even earlier this week we were talking about it, and he was like, "I'm going to try to make it to the show. If I have to do it from the bed, I'll do it from the bed." I'm like,
no,
don't, dude. It's like, don't worry, no one wants to see that.
That is unnecessary.
I was like, I'll put a robe on and lay next to you in bed if that's what you want to do.
I would like that.
But he said he can't even get up to go take a leak. So I was like, he's just pissing in jugs, I'm sure, right now.
Oh.
Well, we do that anyway.
Yeah, I was like, just Gatorade bottles, right? That's what they're for.
Juggling jugs. That's
So,
fucking horrible.
He chose to, because they were like, "Hey, we got an opening. Do you want to come in?" He's like, "Yes, I want to get the surgery right now," which meant he's not going to make it today.
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I had a triple hernia surgery several years ago, and the pills were the only thing that made it worthwhile.
I had an umbilical hernia surgery last year, and
that was one of my three.
That was the first time I've never had any type of surgery or ever had to go under any sort of anesthesia or anything like that. It's the closest thing to time travel. I
love it. I've talked about it so many times where they're like, "All right, count to 10," and you're like, you get to 3 and you're done.
Yeah, he was the doctor was just like, "All right, big breaths, keep breathing. All right, keep breathing." The nurse is like, "Yeah, you're doing a great job. Yeah, you're doing good." And then she just kind of goes, "Okay, well, everything looked great." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
It's like, it's over.
It's just over. I'm like, "No, I'm still breathing. Can you not interrupt the doctor?" She's just like, it's done. And I'm like, "The fuck happened? Was my dick small?" What did
you wake up mid surgery and they had like the tweezers and they were pulling your pee up to measure it?
That's what they do in all surgeries.
I know they do that when they got you down under the anesthesia. They measure your pee. No, they all take bets. They're like, "Hey, $10 to guess how many inches it is. Whoever's closest." They don't do half inches.
Yeah,
they do.
Whoever's the furthest away has to buy lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind. I'm sure that's what they do. But yeah, no, surgery for me was awesome because I got a bunch of pain pills, and my wife, after delivering her second child and had all sorts of tearing and shit, they wouldn't give her much of shit, and she's like, "Well, wait, you have a little incision on your belly button that you got, and they gave you the big boys that will knock you out," and they're like giving me shit. They're giving me essentially like the Tylenol.
No,
you gotta get new doctors.
Yeah, when they're like, "Oh, but you can take what was it? Oh God, I can't remember like the actual. It's like acetaminophen. That's like the actual drug name of Tylenol. Yeah, when you hear that, they've given up. That's what they tried to give. After I had my surgery and I ran out of the good stuff, I went back to try and get some more of the good stuff, and they're like, "No, you can take this acetaminophen or naproxen." Yeah. That's another one that they give you. Yeah.
My wife had tearing during conception, and they gave her a ton of good stuff.
My wife was not so great with the. I was drunk as shit during both the conceptions for my kids. That's how daddy do. I only thrust when I'm drunk. It's like I'm only half up. I'm just kind of duffel bagging it in there.
Your pull-out game is too strong when you're sober.
Yeah, that was the thing. The first time when we were going to start trying, and she was like, "Okay, we're going to start trying now." And I immediately pulled out and shot it all over her stomach. She goes, "We're trying right now." I'm like, "Sorry, you can't change.
It's habit.
Dismount." Yeah, I've been doing this for years. This is how daddy dismount. You're gonna have to like lock me up or something. Try some Kegels. I don't know.
Just a reminder to everyone watching right now, please like the stream. This is our Saturday bonus show, which means we got to meet the goal up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. I've got that Streamlabs link right there pinned up at the top of the chat. You can go there, toss us a couple bucks. If it's $5 or more, your alert will read out loud and we'll be forced to respond to whatever madness you decide to say. That would be cool. We just got to meet the goal. We're coming in at 52.5%, which is great because we've come in at like 20% before. So I don't think it should be too tough, but just a reminder, just keep it flowing here. And also, we're coming close to the end of the month. Want to remind everyone that's a $33.33 or more patron. You'll be getting this sticker, the zebra effect, sent to you.
Nice.
That's what they call DP when we have Hannibal and Monty on, the zebra effect.
Nice.
And that was coined by Trumpster Bob. This I don't think you've ever met Trumpster Bob, but he's a crazy old man.
Yeah. Oh, we've called him on the show.
Oh, you have?
Here,
okay,
yes.
okay, all right.
Yes.
The
whole second half of the show was just us trolling.
Our fan base also has a name for when Sofane and Phat Pat are on. It's the Mr. Hands effect.
More like Mystery Hands.
Mr. Hyatt. So, yeah, if you want to sign up at any point between now and the end of the month, you'll be receiving this sticker next month. It goes like a month in advance, and there's a new sticker every month. It's a pretty big sticker, too, like about 5.5 inches long. I'm not exaggerating, okay? 5.5 inches long, all right?
Let's get the tape measure out for you. What's 5.5 inches to you?
I don't know. How did they used to measure inches in the old days? Like
from the asshole forward.
Depends on how far you can get the tape measure up that asshole.
Yeah.
The other day I shaved. I was like, because I had a decent beard growing, and I was like, I'll shave for $300. I put a $300. It was on my other stream, on my other channel.
Put a bounty on it.
Yeah, and people donated so quickly that it ended up, because they wanted to see it so bad. They wanted to see my fat chin and everything. A lot of them said that's why they were donating. That's why I'm saying that. And it ended up hitting $500 because people donated like so quickly all at once. So quickly.
Yeah, they didn't see it hit perfect.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, someone said they're flagging the show for nudity. My face.
I see a fat cunt.
God damn it. God damn it. I can see like the age in my face too. That was another thing a beard covers up. It's like you're aging, like getting jowls and shit. A beard covers that up very well.
I notice the jawline now. I require a hair light all the time.
Yeah. You can create the illusion of a nice jawline with a beard. It's unbelievable. So I can't wait for it to come back. I'll wait like 2 more weeks. It'll be back to where it was before. I'm counting down the days now. We have to watch this road rage video that it's been all over Twitter today. I don't know. Billy said he hasn't seen it.
Dude, I watch so much road rage stuff on like Twitter and like TikTok and stuff. I'm like, it's the best to watch road rage. They're insane people out there.
Yes, this is, I guess this is something that happened this past summer in Portland, Oregon. They have a huge parade because they're the Rose City. So they have like this big like Rose Parade or whatever. And this insane guy decides to just drive through it. Now, I will say no one gets hurt in the video. Nobody actually gets hurt in the video, but it's just crazy. And this dude should never be allowed even in a car again, let alone behind the wheel of a car. He is insane. And it turned out he was like a convicted sex offender and stuff like that, and didn't have a driver's license and didn't have a insurance while he did all this.
Sounds like Portland to me.
He's a triple threat. That's great.
Yeah, and this video is from his own dash cam. He had one of those triple dash cams where it gets you in the driver's seat, the front of the car, and the rear of the car all at the same time. And the police just released this because he was arraigned.
This guy drives a shit kicker Chevy Avalanche.
Yep. Yeah. So like it's, I have to mute the audio for most of it. Because he's like blasting his music while he's almost murdering people. So he's got
people. A soundtrack.
Yeah, it's good too.
Running.
I wish I could play it with the music because it actually is like the perfect music for this kind of thing. And like he's got police like cutting him off.
I would assume it'd be like smooth jazz.
I wish it was like Kenny G or something. All right, we'll just start it off.
Christmas music.
So he's a little context. He's going to pick up his mother, okay? And he realizes none of the exits are open. And at the beginning of the video, he gets a call from his mom also complaining that all the exits are closed. And the funny thing is that at the beginning of the video, he's right near the Portland Convention Center, and I was literally there a week ago. So that's kind of weird. Anyway, here it is. This guy.
Hey, Ma.
Oh my God.
With the fucking parade.
Huh?
I'm stuck on the fucking freeways all over the place.
They got it all blocked out. The Lloyd Center exit, the Convention Center exit, every motherfucking exit. You bum.
Okay. So.
All right. Let's bring it down. That shirt just screams I'm going to hit people.
He's flipping off like the people that are blocking off the road so people can't drive into the parade. You know, we just had that trial last year where that guy like ran over a bunch of people at a parade. Right. So, of course, they're going to be even extra cautious about this kind of stuff now.
I'm glad they blurred out the middle finger. That would have been
devastated
to show. He's built kind of like a thumb.
Oh, and this is when the music starts.
It really is.
So I got to turn it down, but
that's why he's got that gotta have that beard.
That's the convention center right there. That like glass tower on the right there. That's part of the convention center. So he's kind of stuck in traffic here, and most people are like, oh shit, I guess I'm stuck, right?
Yeah, most people would not try and evade a bunch of cars.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, but this exit's closed. There's the homeless.
Yeah, homeless encampment.
We got a nice little bit of speed here. That's fine.
Yeah. All right. So he just like goes through the cones,
he's rolling with those cones.
Yep.
He's got to get mom. This is important. Ma, I'm coming.
Watch
Ma.
this. Ah!
Oh shit! My guy just rolled up on the fucking grass embankment. He's driving sideways.
Jesus Christ!
This is a fine, by the way, to do that by a working crew like that. He just ran right up in there.
And now they're like, we got a bogey.
Oh my God! And now he's about to
the parade.
Yes, this is the parade route right here. Look, he's about to like hit a whole bunch of people too.
Oh my God!
He almost hits these people, and they all run for cover.
What the hell, dude?
And like, if I saw this, I'd be like, holy shit! It's an attack. It's like a terrorist attack or something. You know, like
no, it's literally just an entitled prick.
Yes. Yeah, and then like when the cops are like, "What's wrong with you?" He's like, "I can't get out." It's like, no shit. That's why they were blocking all the exits. Because they didn't want people in here.
Look on the front cam. He has a handicap place red, so it's okay.
He's got a handicap place red. He's got a handicap placard too.
It's because he's retarded.
Oh, look at the guy chasing after him. What are you gonna do?
Nothing. There's a cop right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the difference. Like Ford Mustangs like to catch you on the curb. Chevys like to just go out in the street like a man.
I guess the one thing someone could be running afterwards is if they are a medic or something, if they have medical training and he hits anybody, they could go in the wake of anybody he hit and help them immediately. That would be one reason to run towards it.
There is one thing that happened that you couldn't hear because I have it down because of the music, but as he drove past crowds of people, you could hear a bunch of them like slapping the back of his car. You know?
Slapping the bass?
Yeah. There's about to be a cop on a bike. There are people throwing shit at him.
Oh, man. 7-Eleven.
Here comes the cop on a bike up behind him. Listen to him act like...
Oh, I see you, bro.
Oh,
Thank you for the escort. Thank you for the escort, bro. Finally, a little respect around here. Police escort, yeah. You gotta get my mom.
He's like, how do I get the fuck out of here? Yeah, that's the thing about a parade and why they don't let you in. There's no way, because there's people like lining the streets. There's no way out usually. It's hard enough to walk around a parade than drive through one.
Ma, they had the freeway exit blocked off. Swear to God, Ma, when I got that, it was like frickin' January 6th everywhere.
You think there would be like something that would let him know that there was a parade happening? Like anything, like a sign, cones, trucks parked, blocking exit, something would let him know that this is not a good idea.
They should have put like hey, there's a parade right here on that sideways embankment he drove over.
The cop's like getting in front of him. I don't know what this song.
Like, hey, learn how to drive, piggy. This is some good. This is some good music too. What is this? Down south, cum strummers.
I'm not even sure what it is, but it was. When I was watching it, I was like, man, this is kind of cool to watch. A police chase. He's like, I can't get out. It's like,
yeah, like he's not like asking for direction. He's like, what? I'm not speeding. Just
try that in a small town. Run over a small town.
Oh, he's a mouth breather too. He's just like,
oh yeah, of course. He's built like a guinea pig. He's got the. I wonder what he is disabled for too. He is.
He's a capybara.
Yes, he's a capybara.
A big guinea pig.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah. Oh shit! And then he just drives. All right.
Screw it. I'm out.
He almost hits these people. He almost hits this person.
Ooh! They moved the sign out of the way. They're like, "Hey, hold on, buddy."
Like that's not my job description. I'm not grabbing that sign. I'm getting the fuck out of the way.
I wonder what this guy's thinking, right? I wish he was more articulate during his crime spree.
He's got 5 stars in Grand Theft Auto right now.
You think this is a 5-star?
When you drive through a parade? Yes.
Has he hit anybody yet?
He almost hit like 7 people.
And a cop.
Yeah.
5 stars usually come when you have like multiple cop cars and you hit somebody.
I mean, he definitely jumped to 3 quick.
Oh yeah, he's definitely at 3.
Is he vaping now?
Yes, he is.
Roger Wilco thinks it's just 2 or 3. I think we can safely call this a 3. He evaded the police, right?
So now he's waiting at the next light. Like,
and this might be a cool down to a 2 now. Oh nope, there's the cops. You're still at 3, Papa.
Oh no, he's just bailing.
He's like, oh, I better get out of this officer's way.
Like,
Ma, I'm a sweet boy. I'm coming to get you, Ma.
Yeah, if he gets to Mom's house, it doesn't count.
Look how fast he's going.
This guy definitely bought copies of ISOM 1 and 2.
The song is really long too. It goes on for a while. I don't know if he just has it on repeat or what.
Honestly, though, if this song was playing, I would do the same thing.
Don't ever play this song while you're driving.
Yeah, you can't help it. Everybody listening right now, we're not playing the song because we don't want you to play it. Because if you play it, you'll do the exact same thing.
You'll crime.
Yep, you'll do one crime. Specifically the road rage variety.
Okay, more barricades, more people.
There's just certain songs that make you do certain crimes. You don't want to know what I do when I listen to Natalie Imbruglia Torn.
Are you all out of faith?
I'm all out of consent.
This is how you feel?
Lying naked on the floor.
You're cold and you are shamed?
Okay, stop.
Not me.
Stop it. Stop.
Not me.
You're a little late, Pat. I'm already torn. Drink some more. It'll numb it out. So yeah, he almost hit those old people walking down the street too. He's still like, I think he's thinking like, should I keep running or should I just like pull over? And this guy it turns out this guy's been in prison multiple times, like throughout his whole life.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So this is I'm not going back situation.
Probably. Hey, what an idiot. Like, you deserve to go to, never let this guy out, right? Never let this guy out.
He's flying through the Marshall's parking lot. I like how he just
Marshall's
right here. He's recording himself committing several crimes, and that's why this is public now, because this was used as evidence against him. But this is his own dash cam. Like, he literally just ran a stop sign right there too. You know?
Yeah. If he was smart, he'd be unplugging the camera right now.
Yeah. And he knows it's there because the part where he was like flipping off the people on the side of the road, he makes eye contact with the camera at that point.
Now we tried to get the GTA rating, 5-star police chase rating, 3-star. What's the Death Race 3000 scoreboard right now?
I've never played it.
It's a movie, right?
Oh, okay.
There's a movie too. Yeah.
Yeah, the movie. You get points for hitting people. I'm not sure if he's even got what his points would be at.
0, because he hasn't hit anybody.
Yeah, he hasn't actually hit anybody. He's just fucking.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, like a lot of the reason he didn't hit people is because the people got the fuck out of the way, not because he avoided them. He put himself in a perfect position to hit multiple people.
Is probably in so much grief. I need to get to mom. The exits are closed. There's a parade happening and now I have police after me.
Yeah, you say grief-space suicide, but what if this guy is just horny and he wants his Chris Chan moment?
Stop. Why do you connect that? Why is that where you got?
Hey, Mama,
welcome to my world. Welcome to my world.
Mama, I'm coming home.
You ruined the song. You just ruined that song for me.
It's just about having sex with Chris Chan's mom.
Yeah, but if you saw
this guy's mom,
did you see that message though? It said he was like convicted of like molestation at one point. That's what I believe I have a news story about this where they kind of fill in the gaps because you don't get the whole story like just watching this.
Fill in those gaps.
Those mama gaps.
Stop.
You said gaps.
I didn't say mama.
Yeah, but you knew what you were saying. Both of us avoided saying
I'll
baby
just get
gap.
baked before I get arrested.
Is that a little weed? Is he?
I don't know. The
it's
fact
legal in Portland.
I know the fact that it looks so small. I'm like, that's definitely like one of those little cartridges.
He's just big chilling.
Yeah, it's a very small truck, right? It's like an
Avalanche.
Is that what it is? Is it a big
Avalanche
truck?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a Silverado or like a.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the full size.
Okay.
Chicanery is suggesting that his highest points probable would be in the game Saints Row, where you get respect points for near misses on pedestrians and other cars. So he'd probably have a 4 or 5 respect bar in Saints Row.
Okay. Would he have Eric July respect, though?
You know this guy is a fan of the Rippaverse.
Tired of all them queers in my comic books.
He's got the same dead look in his eyes that Sturgis has.
Kind of. You're kind of right.
This is a low IQ situation right here.
The Amazon truck was in the way. I think he pulls over in this neighborhood. I can't believe the cops aren't tailing. He got away from the cops.
It's Portland. They probably have a no chase law.
They might.
So many counties do no chase.
I'm pretty sure the entire state of Washington has no chase, right? At least King County. King County
that
used
woman that got murdered, like
I think during a parade, even more so. Like during a parade.
Hey, is this Sturgis's long lost father?
Yep.
Ryan Chan. No, this is actually Sturgis's long lost twin brother.
These Whippaverse detractors. And we now
he's just more clean cut.
Right now I'm driving my Chevy Silverado.
I bet you if you put him next to Sturgis in a police lineup, they'd be like, you're both guilty.
I think in Washington, the no chase law is for like everything except for like a dangerous criminal, like someone who just shot someone or something like that. But if it's like petty theft, like you robbed a grocery store or something, they won't chase you for that.
I get charged with petty theft.
All right, so that's
so pretty.
Does that mean you're a predator?
Made it to his mom's house? Is that what we're assuming? He made it to mom's house, or he just decided to bail?
I think he just bailed there.
He made it to Maz.
Foreseen footage shows a Portland man plowing past barricades, nearly hitting several people along the Rose Festival's
while listening to some catchy tunes.
Grand Floral Parade route in June. Sidney Meacham is facing
Sidney Meacham.
That's a name, dude.
Look at him like, dough.
Look at those banana hands. Good God, sausage fingers.
Yeah.
Charges for the alleged road rage incident. At the time, there was no clear motive for his speeding toward children and families.
Jesus Christ.
The 30-minute recording submitted as evidence in a preventative detention hearing provides new insight into the June 10th incident. The dashcam video shows Meacham become increasingly frustrated by heavy traffic. His music is blaring as Meacham heads towards the Moda Center in North Portland, where he planned to meet others, including his mother. ODOT crews had blocked off numerous exits to help keep traffic away from the parade route.
They got it all blocked out. The Lloyd Center exit, the Convention Center exit, every motherfucking exit. You
It's nice to know he speaks in fluent pro wrestler promo.
Jesus.
The video shows Meacham driving through a row of barricades before blowing past ODOT crews blocking the exit ramp.
The music is just like... I have to cut it up so we don't get like a claim from it. So I just keep pausing it.
This is what happened. This is exactly what happened on my way to the Jelly Roll concert.
Jelly
Same
Roll?
song and everything.
All right, we saw this part. I just want them to talk about... All right, let's see. The fucking song. It's been stuck in my head all day.
Okay, and
right.
turned,
Is it Yellow
exiting
Wolf?
the parade route. Meacham drove through barricades, nearly
Look at this
hitting
guy.
several
Woo!
people. An unmarked police SUV attempted to stop Meacham at a red light
right
in
here.
Portland's Lloyd district,
That's where I saw the murder was in the Lloyd
but
district.
he drove off.
Oh,
The video
man.
showed Meacham continuing to drive for several blocks until he eventually stopped near other officers in northeast Portland. Meacham, a registered sex offender, was arrested and taken to jail, where he'll remain while awaiting trial.
Yeah, so there's that.
Yeah, whatever, bro. I'm a registered sex offender, bro. It doesn't matter, though. I didn't even finish.
It doesn't count.
Doesn't count, bro.
Pleaded not guilty to 38 counts related to the alleged road rage incident, including felony charges of unlawful use of a weapon and attempting to elude police. No trial date has been
No,
set.
he did elude police. He didn't attempt it. He got it. He did it successfully.
Did he elude police? I thought they said they got him right when after he
Oh,
pulled
he
over.
eluded. He eluded for 30
For a
minutes.
while.
Well, yeah, but it's really easy to elude police if you just look like you're going to kill people. They don't want to make you speed up anymore. They probably had choppers out on him, you think? Maybe not Portland.
I don't know how fast they would have gotten that chopper up and over there if they didn't have one in the sky.
Yeah, probably not in Portland. Seattle, they would have had a chopper on him in like 10 minutes. Park next to the cops.
I don't know. It just looks like he parked in a random neighborhood, but maybe.
Guy looked like a deer in headlights, says space suicide. Literally, that's his resting. He's got resting deer in headlight face. He's low IQ.
Yeah. And oh shit. Oh, someone sent this in being like, look, here's an old clip from an old DP episode where JF speaks out against racism. So I thought I'd just play this really quick here.
They paused it on a certain point where I said the following. Jacqueline Glenn said, people that are black are often treated unfairly. To which I made the point, what? Oh, cry me a river. Maybe they should stop dealing with cops. Maybe they should stop committing crimes.
Do you remember AIU, Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was I just had a flashback. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. So this is us. And then Scotty and TJ's brother Stevie was on the show too. That's who's down in the middle there. And we had JF on as a guest. And JF here is going to speak out against AIU's racism, which is... This is why no one... people try to do this weird, like, guilt by association because we had JF on the show. JF presented himself as a perfectly balanced individual at that time.
We're going to listen to this and we're going to pick apart whether or not JF was speaking out against AIU's racism because it didn't agree with his form of racism or if he was actually not racist at the time.
I mean, he might have been racist, but hiding it too, just to like, because he knew we wouldn't be on board with it. And and like at this point, he was kind of using our show as a springboard for himself.
Yeah. He didn't want to turn away all that sweet low IQ vagina.
Pause the video there. And they take issue with that. So, which is startling. I don't know how you take issue with
startling that we would
maybe
take
they
issue
should
with
stop
that.
committing crimes.
Okay, I'll
First of
explain
all,
it to you. Well, actually, Ben will explain it because he's probably made the point better.
Well, I mean, saying that. I mean, you could take an 8-year-old black kid being harassed by the cops because black people should just stop committing crimes, but that kid has never committed crimes.
I think there was material enough to stop the sentence here. You don't need to read any more than this sentence to conclude that there's some racism here. He said they should stop dealing with the cops. He's talking about the group here and attributing criminal acts to that are made by individuals. So yes, I think you had a good material there to stop the sentence, and that sentence on its own can be criticized.
Acknowledge the fact that.
So, how do you feel about that statement?
I didn't understand what that guy with marbles in his mouth was saying.
Yeah. The entire time he's talking, I'm like, maybe Mama JF is not slow because this accent is so bad.
Yeah,
just sounds like
he was
decode it the entire time. I'm like,
he was saying that the way the sentence is structured has racial undertones to it. Is basically what he was saying.
Black people are committing huge numbers of crimes, and that is why they are upping their chances of having non-satisfactory encounters with police.
What's that, JF?
I love the term he used. He said unsatisfactory encounter with the police. So does that mean being shot?
Yes.
I'm bleeding.
Yeah, okay. This is where I get where JF had presented himself a little differently early on.
Yes.
Because you can't come out super extreme. I mean, I guess maybe you could now.
Not at this point in time, you could.
At this point, it's like you got to get in, get everyone to believe and listen to you, think you're smart, and then you start going sideways. You know, it's
also though. Right now, he's probably going to be anti-police as well because they're watching him.
Well, not bad. I mean, now, yeah. I mean, at this point, either he had the views that he has now and he's hiding them because he knows they wouldn't have gone over well, or later on, he saw the emergence of those kind of ideas become mainstream and decided to hop on that gravy train.
Yeah, well, yeah, if he's grifting, then he's just going to go with, this is getting a lot more attention. I'm going to, I'll just dive it all in and push so far right and bring all these people with me that are just mindless drones that might start pumping a little bit of money towards me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was the perfect time to do that, too.
I can't tell
in 2018.
some of these... Yeah, I can't tell when some of these people when they're saying shit, do they believe the shit they're saying, or are
I think a lot of them don't.
That they don't believe it and they're just saying it because they know it gets attention. I can't quite tell, or do they start to believe their own shit while they're saying it? I don't know.
I think a lot of people just go with the flow of what everybody else is saying for maybe not clout, it's virtue. Some people do things for clout. Other people do things for virtue. Some people do things for
genuine interest.
Little boys. Yeah, well, I think you could have genuine interest, and that's more of something that you're actually serious about, though, right? I'm saying people are just following, and they don't actually believe in these things. They're just one of the bricks in the wall at this point, little herd mentality motherfuckers.
I think with the rise of Trump in the political sphere and the weird shift, all the big what was it, Charlottesville protest and all that stuff.
Right.
That was a big opportune time to jump on the race realism bandwagon, and that was what JF did. He might have actually held those views. I don't know. So either I'm inclined to believe that either he's pretending to not have those views here, or he adopted them later, either genuinely or through strategery.
Yeah,
one or the other.
Sanitized.
That's a real world strategery. Real world.
Satisfied with my
the president used
treatment of being killed.
It's gotta be real.
I want my money back.
It's not enormously more. We're talking about a super rare event, which is 3.3 or 19.6 over 100.
So now he's looking at these crime statistics that AIU is using to bolster his because AIU was always like, oh, black people commit most of the crimes. I don't know why they do, but it shows that they do, so they do. So you can't deny it. And he's picking it apart here.
So let's revert it the other way. That means that whenever I walk on the street, if I see black people, there's 99.99999% chance that they haven't killed anyone in their life and they never will.
Yeah. That kind of puts it into better perspective even than, any of the bullshit we've said.
Science, bitch.
He's basically making moral statements to a group that he identifies, which is black people. And he says, don't do this, don't do that. I find this interesting because I wonder to which extent you can do that while being polite and not condescending. And this makes me think of Rebecca Watson when she said, guys, don't do that. Is it correct to say?
Wow, he's talking about elevator gate.
A whole group that genetically identify like guys or black people to not do something. Isn't it a little bit condescending, knowing that 99.99% of the people you're talking to have not done the thing that you're criticizing?
That's a great point.
He cares.
Yeah. I think that was
he doesn't care.
Oh my God. Now we'll go into that later. What else did remember the Trump lawyer that used to dress in like leopard print all the time?
Yeah, yes. the tall Amazonian weirdo.
She was getting prosecuted along with a lot of Trump's other lawyers, and the word just got out that she cut a plea deal where she's pleading guilty to avoid jail time in exchange for her testimony about what was going on.
Some of my favorite
turned on
JF
everybody.
moments on DP is when you had him read crazy Craigslist ads.
It's nice to look back at people before we found out they were white nationalists, child abusers, sickos.
Right. Well, like Andy Worski went down that path. So I was like, what the fuck happened?
With JF?
Yeah, with JF. I was like, we were all partying together. Everything was great. He was just, one of our goofy little bros, and then I don't know, he just started getting worse and worse. And I was like, the fuck is going on with this?
He kind of came back around though, right? Like,
I think he tried to reinvent himself a couple times, and then
he's doing all right now.
I don't know.
He reached out and apologized for some of the stuff he did. I thought that was a real good maneuver for someone to do. Admit that they might not have been in the right space, and then he's doing a pretty good show now. I think. I don't know. Here's one thing though, right? Where the fuck is the other Worski?
Yeah, we actually. Where's
Chris Worski? Where is he with Mama JF?
I think.
Was he Canadian?
Think as everything was starting to push alt right, he was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
What were you saying before that donation came in though? I can't remember.
Oh fuck! I don't even remember what the hell I was going off on.
Yeah, I don't remember.
There was something.
Yeah, there was something going on there.
Sure, it was important.
The Trump lawyer.
Oh yeah, that's happening here in Fulton County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a little
Fulton
news.
County's finally bringing them down.
Here's a little news snippet about it.
Sidney Powell pleaded guilty to 6 counts of election interference in Georgia just a day before her trial was set to begin. As part of the deal, Trump's former attorney will be required to testify at future trials. CNN's Zachary Cohen is covering all of the developments. Zach, what are you hearing?
Yeah, Dana, this is a surprising reversal by Sidney Powell, and one that could have significant implications not only for her, but for the other defendants in this case, including Donald Trump. Now, Sidney Powell had been adamant leading up to this that she would not take a plea deal. She wanted to take her chances in trial that was supposed to start tomorrow. But I'm told that in just the last several hours, a deal did come together that allowed Powell to basically avoid being charged and pleading guilty to felonies. She was facing prison time if convicted of those felonies, now pleading guilty to 6 misdemeanors that do take the pressure off her and do add some pressure to her fellow co-defendants. As you said, she has to now testify as a witness in the because of the terms of this agreement. So we could see her take the stand potentially in a hearing down the line, featuring Donald Trump.
And they're saying some of these are more than likely going to be televised. Can you imagine the ratings that shit is going to bring in? It's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
She looks like a woman.
She had like a bunch of different things against her. So we don't know what exactly she's taking the plea deal on. Is it some, all, what?
How long does that usually take till it goes public? Do we have to wait until they go to trial with the people she's commenting on?
I don't know. She pled guilty to misdemeanors that would have otherwise have been felonies. She's avoiding most.
Rudy Giuliani, where she has firsthand knowledge of their efforts to overturn the election results in Georgia.
Zach, thank you so much for that reporting. And here to expand on that and understand what it means for Donald Trump and her place in his orbit is Maggie Haberman of the New York Times. Thanks so much for coming on, Maggie. What are you hearing from inside Trump world about this deal, and what are the sort of reverberations happening?
Yeah, the disinfo warrior says she's supposed to be a very intelligent legal expert. Though I guess she's better than Lynn Wood. Yeah, the very intelligent legal experts stayed away from Trump during those final days. It was Rudy Giuliani. It was that wasn't there a guy like named Nacho or something that represented him in that case they lost? He's got the worst lawyers representing him now because all the very intelligent legal experts are noping the fuck out.
Oh yeah, fuck no.
Out of that DA's office in some time. They're still trying to figure out what it means. There are some people in his world who are telling me they don't think this is that big a deal for him. They think that her ability to actually really testify is marginal. They're arguing that this shows that the DA overcharged in this case. The flip side is the argument that she intentionally charged this way so that she could end up getting guilty pleas. And there's nobody who's happy about it. You know, there is concern about the degree to which Powell could offer information, not just about former President Trump, but about Rudy Giuliani, as noted before. Now, the former president is still, Dana, most concerned right now with the New York AG case, which is about his business, and that is really where the bulk of his mind share is. But there's nobody in Trump world who is pretending this is a good development. They're just, split on what exactly it means.
That's such an important point that we have to keep remembering, and it's easy to do when there's so much happening in the world. But the former president was in New York this week because he is so worried about what the civil trial up there means for his businesses. And but back to what this Sidney Powell situation means. I mean, we should remind our viewers that we're talking about plans to overturn the 2020 election. And specifically, there was a key meeting at the White House. This was December 18th, 2020. Military seizing voting machines in states Trump lost, naming Sidney Powell as a special counsel to investigate supposed voter fraud, and Trump invoking martial law to overturn the election. This is just some of what we're talking about.
Okay. The military seizing voting machines in states Trump lost. That's so crazy.
So this was the problem is that, I hate to always say like the Trump supporters that were there, it's culty because I don't like to immediately associate that it's a cult, but they're very culty in behavior in that they see him as like some god that there's no way they can't believe he lost. So there's got to be something else up.
Well, it helps that he told them that he can't lose, and if he does lose,
that's what I'm saying.
It's this, then sending all the meetings. Like they're idiots that were coached by a man to act this way.
And a cult behavior, but it's like, come on, man. Like at some point, like the homeboy lost.
It's this weird thing where you can just deny reality, and if you just never admit it, then you can just pretend like it never happened.
I was in a conversation with an old family friend, known this guy since I was a little kid. I was chatting with him, and he has gotten so far into Q, and it was like at first he started off with a couple conversations with me about my stand-up comedy. He's like, oh yeah, it's got to be kind of tough for you to do comedy right now with all the woke people. So when I start hearing that kind of stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess he would be conservative. And then like he just kind of and then like throughout the course of the conversation over like an hour, it slowly was like, hey, have you heard of Q? And I went, oh my God, oh shit. I was like, this is where this is going. And he's kind of laughing it off and stuff, but then he starts like, well, I mean, they make a lot of good points. And then towards the end of the conversation, he was like, we've never been to Antarctica, right? I went, oh my God.
No, he didn't do that. People have been there.
I finally broke the conversation. Like I kept going, oh yeah, he was kind of laughing through some of his shit. Like early in the conversation, I would try to find some middle ground to have a conversation with him. And then towards the middle, I just stopped talking because he was getting crazier and crazier. And then at the end, when he goes, we've never been to Antarctica, right? I just stopped. I went,
that's
hey,
objectively not true.
I was like, are you about to flat earth me here, bro? And he just goes, yeah, I am. I am. It makes more sense. I went, no, it doesn't. And I was like, I gotta go. Like until you've been face to face with a true like flat earther, like QAnon conspiracy person, it's actually very jarring. Like you just suddenly get hit with this wave of like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like all this shit is so easily disproven that you're saying. I don't know what you're saying.
And like, aren't you like a conservative?
Me?
Yeah. You were like a registered Republican or something when I first met you.
I are a registered Republican, but I have not voted Republican in quite some time. It has not been a positive experience. Definitely going the wrong direction. So, no.
Well, it must be nice that Atlanta
Like the
is
fact
so
that
split all the time.
the fact that Mitt Romney seems like the most casual Republican ever, and now because he's like Judas to the Republican Party. He's so middle of the road and just like,
and he was their presidential candidate not even a decade ago.
Yeah, no, he is the worst thing. He's a dirty lib. Like that's how all these Republicans are shouting at him. Like he's the worst ever. And he won't run for any political party because he's like, well, I'm too old. I don't think we should have old guys out there. I'm too old for this. I'm like, we've got the oldest people up there right now. Like the fuck.
I don't think anybody wants to run because they're not going to be able to derail the Trump derangement train.
And so if this is a White House
Republican
meeting,
Party is just hoisting themselves up and destroying. I mean, look,
it's fractured.
Joe Biden is half dead inside, and he got elected. I was like, you literally elected a potato over Trump. That's how bad Trump was. And it's like, you think the Republican Party is going to be able to bring anybody in that's going to suddenly right that ship? It's going to take years. They need to calm the fuck down is what they need to do.
and if
As a registered Republican, what is some nice things you can say about Joe Biden?
It's very entertaining.
Is he entertaining? He just seems like he can hardly speak.
That's what's entertaining. Well, I have to see. I'm looking at it more as a comedian.
Yeah.
Like at first, I thought as a comedian, I thought Donald Trump. That's hilarious. But then it started getting to where there's like the January 6th shit. And I'm like, okay, this is not as funny anymore. This is starting to get really scary. This guy's crazy. But like Biden. Mostly harmless, I guess, is the best way. But no, that was the other thing. I think all these Republicans believe that the leftists look at Biden the way they look at Trump, and that's not the case. And oh, look at Hunter Biden. He should be prosecuted. I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, go for it. Well, Joe Biden knew, and he should be. Yeah, sure, go get him too. Good, whatever. No one's like backing Biden like that, the way they back Trump for like no excuses.
I don't know anybody who wants to protect Biden.
Yeah, no. We just don't like Trump. You understand? I think it could have been a cardboard cutout, which basically is what he is now, and we'll take it.
Close. He's a decaying cardboard cutout. I think Biden's comedy factor peaked when Jim Carrey was playing him on Saturday Night Live. I think that was when it was the best time for Biden comedy.
The best is really Jim Carrey, but really I thought when he was vice president and he was the goofy wild card vice president.
That was good too.
Like that was hilarious because it was like, oh, look what our vice president is doing, but it doesn't matter. He's over there like eating glue, and not knowing that like, oh, in about 4 years, you got all we got. Like. Yeah, there's no MAGA version of Biden. Exactly. There is no MAGA version. Not for Biden.
We're doing pretty good. We're at 63% of our goal. Just a reminder, we've got it linked there in the top of the chat. If you want to help us out and throw us a couple bucks and start a tip train, it's right there to keep it rolling.
Keep that train rolling, motherfuckers. I want to hear what you have to say.
I want to feel the bass of your donos against my diaphragm.
Wow. Whew. Where's your diaphragm?
It's right under your lungs.
Yeah.
Everybody watching right now, Tonight's the night. Order takeout.
I will say,
sit down, put your hands in your pants, enjoy the show.
Things have changed since Fane and I first got onto YouTube and decided to start creating content. Like we first got, because I was just going to like try to do comedy content. He was getting more into wanting to do atheist content, and so we kind of just made funny atheist content was our direction, and then we started getting involved in the people that were also doing atheist content, and I was like, oh, this guy's funny. The Creationist Cat guy, he's kind of funny. And then he's like, oh, have you heard this AIU guy? He doesn't like Creationist Cat. I'm like, wait, I thought we were all on the same team. We don't like religion. Organized religion is bad, right? And why do they not like each other? What? And I started getting into it. I was like, man, this AIU guy's absolutely a nightmare. What the fuck's his deal? He has these like cronies that come out and just like yell at you and leave hate comments on everything. I'm like, this is a weird group over here. And then it started getting better. We had fun. We had fun people. We had a great time at VidCon. We were all clicking as one, and then it just started falling apart.
Yeah, right after it, right? Like you guys,
it was like the Keck thing. The Keck thing was starting up, and I thought it was kind of a goofy thing. I was like, didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden it became this crazy alt-right,
and then you guys took that group pick.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying this pick is A-OK. That's what I like about that pick.
I love that I missed that pick by like 2 minutes.
Niggling this
I was in the
Whoa, goose juice. I guess $10 is good enough for a niggling.
Yeah, there's like two big Keck pictures with me in it. And I had a super affair, just kind of a Hitler haircut. And, it really helped it sink in real good. But I'm like, man, every time that shows up, it's tasty.
That would have been a better picture if someone like a lot of the people in that picture were human centipedes. That would have been a way better picture.
What else did I have? Did you see Hasan versus Piers Morgan?
Oh, this was fantastic. I only watched 10 seconds of it, and I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It is pretty good. So we'll check that out. We'll see what this is. And like, we haven't talked about the Israel stuff much. It's really sad. It's kind of like, I can laugh at these two. The topic is not funny at all.
No, it sucks, but you have two clowns boxing.
Yes,
still gonna be
that's
funny.
the funny part.
Battle of the Hearts and Minds, traditionally played out through diplomacy and propaganda, is being played out online. My next guest has almost 500 million views for his provocative commentary online.
He sounded kind of butthurt. He was like, almost 500 million views.
It's like, those aren't real views.
Yeah.
Became hugely influential. Hasan Piker streams live under the name Hasan.
Well, he has to introduce Hasan with information towards the audience, why his opinion matters, why his words are important. He's got audiences following him and taking what he says as motivation to act in turn online. This is an audience, 500 million views. All these viewers are going to take what he says as motivation to further it.
Analysis of the Israel-Hamas war has taken a highly critical stance towards Israel and Western media, and he's been calling me out for my coverage.
Because he only cares about Israeli citizens. He does not care about Palestinians as human beings. That's why it's apples to oranges. It's like one side is a human, the other side is a barbaric monster child.
I never said that, obviously. He says that he'd like nothing more than to come on to Uncensored and call me a baboon in a suit to my face. Well, here I am, a baboon, and he can join me now.
I'm a baboon.
Hasan.
A baboon.
Hasan, thank you very much.
I like how he says it, though. Baboon.
So Piers Morgan, 20 seconds into this, has already referred to himself as a baboon.
He's already losing the argument, and Hasan hadn't even showed up.
Is there any way Hasan could lose this argument? Piers Morgan has already referred to himself as a baboon.
Coming on.
Thank you for having me, Piers. It's very early here in Los Angeles, California, but I'm going to try to do my very best to to not do my British accent while I'm here.
Well, I appreciate that. And listen, I appreciate you coming on. Explain to me why you consider me a stenographer for the Israeli government, given that in the last week, I think more than any other host in the world, I have given lengthy platforms to pro-Palestinian voices to articulate that side of the argument.
No, I do have to commend you. You certainly have had more pro-Palestinian voices than the rest of the British media and certainly the rest of Western media in general. Now, as far as saying
so
that
this
you're
is where he goes and calls himself a baboon, giving Hasan the higher platform here. But now Hasan is congratulating him on all of his great work.
Yeah. Hey, doing great. Hey, you're a great baboon that says what needs to be said.
Oh shit! Maybe he might not win this one.
Bad start.
Stenographer. I said that journalists are not supposed to be stenographers, and yet when it comes down to it, in most circumstances, in whatever conflict we may be in, there are stenographers for whichever party is aligning with the American State Department and the interests of the West in general. And Israel happens to be the one in this ongoing conflict.
But it's interesting that you call me a propagandist, because I want to play you. This was your reaction to when the hospital got
I'm
bombed.
a propagandist.
Well, no,
for the record.
I'm not calling you that. No, I'm just saying.
Never mind.
I'm saying I am.
Okay, well then,
one side's admitting to be a baboon, the other side's admitting to be a propagandist. This is not going well.
Oh my God. I just want to even play it.
Okay, I'm going to play the clip. This is your reaction to the bombing of the hospital the other night.
While I was in the process of getting ready for the stream, Israel enacted one of the singular worst strikes they have done thus far, and an Israeli airstrike hit the Al Ahli hospital in Gaza City, where thousands of civilians were seeking medical treatment and shelter from the relentless bombing campaign.
Now, interestingly, when you were saying that, I was coming on air too. And I took a position based probably on 30 years of being a journalist, including running major newspapers, working at CNN and others, of waiting, of just saying, I think we should just wait and see what has actually happened here, get clarification, see who's actually to blame before we start passing judgment. You raced in to assume, as many people did, by the way, including the New York Times, BBC, mainstream media, and of course, most of the Arab world then followed, that this was clearly, indisputably, an Israeli airstrike on this hospital. And yet all the evidence now suggests very strongly that it wasn't, that in fact this was a rocket that misfired coming from a terrorist group inside Gaza. So my question for you is
I wouldn't go that far.
Why would,
I wouldn't go that far.
Why would you be so certain in what you said before you knew?
Okay, so first and foremost, before we get started on this conversation, let's understand something very important here. There's no electricity in Gaza. Internet is patchy in Gaza. There's no food in Gaza. There's no water in Gaza. This is all by design. This is because Gaza is under a brutal blockade, a brutal occupation by the Israeli government. Okay? So that plays a role in the fog of war and the misinformation that gets spread. Having said that, however, you made it seem as though there is a certainty that this was 100% not an Israeli airstrike.
No, I didn't. And instead, I literally just said it's not a certainty.
Okay, sorry.
I said the evidence is increasingly pointing to this not being an Israeli airstrike, and that is expert evidence from people who have no skin in the game at all.
Yes. Well, I don't know which expert you're talking about, because I think Channel 4 did a pretty good job. As a matter of fact, I would say Channel 4 did probably the best job so far in analyzing everything that the IDF has said. But the reason why I believed, and I still do believe...
What's up with his hair? Can I ask, like... That's all I can focus on. It's like... He's got like this...
It goes back and then up and then
it's just wavy.
Like, okay.
Yeah, is it? Okay.
He's just got wavy curls that he brushes out.
That the likelihood is that this was an Israeli bombing campaign wasn't only because of the singular verifiable video, the phone video from the balcony that had all of the markings of an airstrike, the fact that the Israeli Air Force was enacting a bombing campaign in the region at the time, according to the Al Jazeera live streaming footage that everyone is using but doesn't understand, the fact that the digital media person for the IDF immediately came out and said that this was actually an airstrike that hit a Hamas target, and that he was sad that there were, casualties at the end of the day, but this was a Hamas target and celebrated it. And more importantly, I guess, the fact that this hospital had been bombed by Israel. This hospital had been bombed by Israel on Saturday. 22 hospitals have, as a matter of fact, been bombed by Israel since this last saga in the occupation. And this hospital had been bombed directly by Israel, where the cancer ward was destroyed. Israel has been bombing all of these hospitals. Israel has been calling all of these hospitals to evacuate over and over again.
Whoa. If the cancer ward was destroyed, then technically they eliminated cancer. That's a good thing.
Yeah, everyone keeps looking at this wrong. Israel's trying to destroy cancer, people. Sorry they had to chase it down to your grandma.
Ouch.
It's got to go.
Medical professionals at the hospital had been called by the Israeli government the day prior, and everyone on the ground assumes that this is an Israeli airstrike. They are the ones who experienced the situation.
Hassan,
so when you have
but the
every
truth
single,
is,
can I just finish this?
if you watch the
Can I just finish this?
BBC account of all this last night, by their Verify unit, which was specifically set up by the BBC to be completely dispassionate in these investigations, and they reached a pretty another battle of the hearts and minds.
My bad. Hold on.
Got him.
An airstrike that hit a Hamas target, and that he was sad that there were, casualties at the end of the day, but this was a Hamas target and celebrated it. And more importantly, I guess, the fact that this hospital had been bombed by Israel. This hospital had been bombed by Israel on Saturday. 22 hospitals have, as a matter of fact, been bombed by Israel since this last saga in the occupation. And this hospital had been bombed directly by Israel, where the cancer ward was destroyed. Israel has been bombing all of these hospitals. Israel has been calling all of these hospitals to evacuate over and over again. The medical professionals at the hospital had been called by the Israeli government the day prior, and everyone on the ground assumes that this is an Israeli airstrike. They are the ones who experienced the situation.
Hassan,
so when you have
but the
every
truth
single,
is,
can I just finish this?
if you watch the
Can I just finish this?
BBC account of all this last night, by their Verify unit, which was
Piers, actually, I did watch BBC. Piers, it's actually the top trending search on my Pornhub. Okay, Piers. So maybe I think I know a little more about this than you do.
Specifically set up by the BBC to be completely dispassionate in these investigations. And they reached a pretty clear conclusion based on circumstantial evidence, I'll make that clear, that this would not have been an Israeli airstrike, including, for example, the size of the crater, which bears no relation to the size of craters normally left by Israeli air. So, look, my point is, neither of us know for sure. But you took to your airwaves immediately because actually your, I wouldn't even say unconscious bias, your admitted propagandist bias on your part was that you wanted that to be an Israeli airstrike. It suited your narrative. And I would say that that in itself, in its way,
wanted it to be
is
an
being a
Israeli airstrike.
stenographer. Well, you accuse me of being a stenographer. I try and be fair and get to the truth. In your case, I don't think you try to do that. I think you appeal to your audience, appeal to your base, and you don't really care whether the facts are there or not.
This is unfair.
He is calling himself out, as he said. You're appealing to your audience. What the fuck do you do, Piers? Shut the fuck up. God damn it.
This is entirely unfair because you just said circumstantial evidence favors that this was not an Israeli airstrike.
Yeah.
I gave you all of the circumstantial evidence that it does favor that this is an Israeli airstrike. The reason why, however, circumstantial evidence is not enough. And the one thing that I will concede to, because when more information did come out, and no, I do not mean when Israel said that they did not bomb this hospital and it was actually Hamas, and then they turned around and went, never mind, it's not Hamas, it's actually Islamic Jihad. And then they said, we have more evidence coming out in a couple hours. And then the evidence came out, and it turns out it sounded like the phone conversations that they were able to intercept, supposedly, sounded like, by experts at the very least, to be completely false and completely made up.
Yeah, but Hasan, I don't think. Listen. In all honesty, I don't think even as you're saying all this.
Hold on,
I think
big
you're
boy.
a smart guy.
Piers, let me finish.
I think you've looked at all of this, and I think in your heart, you know this was probably not an Israeli airstrike. And I'm just curious why.
I don't know the details about any of that, so I don't know where. It's
it's like two people that don't have any actual information just arguing over it.
You must know in all of your heart. Okay, Piers, we're gonna question what's in his heart as the defense for your this was not an Israeli strike. You must know in all of your heart.
You would, instead of admitting that as facts change,
that is
your
not
opinion
what I'm
changed.
saying. That is not what I'm saying at
I
all.
don't understand why you would
Please.
double and treble down
You're
when the
asking me to be
evidence
on your
is pointing
show.
the other
You're
way.
asking me to be on your show. Do you want to talk?
Yes.
If you're asking me to be on your
Yes, of
show,
course.
and I
Then
want to be
shut
on
the
the show,
fuck up.
thank you so much for having me on your show. Let me explain exactly what I said, and let me explain to you why.
Call him a baboon, Hasan, right now. Just call him a fucking
until there is
baboon.
a third-party investigation that is concluded by the UN, the International Criminal Court, or specifically a forensic analyst that looks at the situation, is allowed to be on the ground. This is not just my perspective. This is B'Tselem as well, which is an Israeli organization that has also demanded a third-party investigation occur.
Hassan's wearing his professional pants right now,
and
it sucks. You don't need to wear your professional pants. You're not trying to impress Uncle Chank right now. You're trying to impress your fucking fan base. Call him a baboon, give him some fuck off meme shit, and get the fuck out of here.
Was not
I don't
Israel's
expect you to.
fault.
I
Why?
don't expect you to.
Because I just gave you, and not because I'm a propagandist. As far as me being a propagandist goes, everyone is a propagandist. I'm just honest about it. You're a propagandist. We have our biases.
I'm curious who you think I'm a
I am at least
propagandist
honest
for.
about my biases.
Who do you think I'm a propagandist for?
Who do I think you're a propagandist for? Whichever every media person is
You're
doing
a grifter.
propaganda.
Yeah, but who for? I've got to be doing it with
doesn't-
somebody.
You think it's a bad word? I don't. That's just the difference. This is a
I
semantics
do. I think it's
conversation
actually quite a
that is
serious charge.
uninteresting.
Hassan, I think it's a serious charge to level, not as a podcaster, but as a journalist who's broadcasting around the world, who has a reputation, I believe, for being fair and impartial, actually, on these issues. It's quite a charge to just say, I'm a stenographer for the Israeli government or I'm a propagandist. I don't think there's any evidence that I'm either of those things. I'm curious who you think I am doing
While
the
we're
propaganda
having this
for.
conversation, 3,000, Piers, while we're having this back and forth, 3,840 Palestinians have been ruthlessly slaughtered in the last incursion into Gaza. I feel like this is an incredibly selfish, self-centered conversation to have. You asked me to be on here. You want to hear my perspective. I'm willing to give it to you. I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about Noam Chomsky style manufacturing consent conversations about how the media is operating at the behest of capital.
You were the guy.
owners.
Listen,
I think
you
this
were
is
the
a silly
guy that
conversation to
called
have.
me.
There are dead people.
Listen, Hassan, I only asked you because you're the guy that called me a propagandist and called me a baboon in a suit. I was curious as to why. You don't want to say who I'm doing the propaganda for. We'll move on. I agree with you. There's a bigger picture here. Let's move on. Let's take a short break. Hassan, let's take a short break. I want to come back. I want to talk to you about what happened on October the 7th, get your reaction to that.
Hassan, let's take a short
Welcome
break.
back, Hassan. Piker is still
Welcome
with
back.
me.
If you
Hassan,
just
I
saw
wanna play
everything
you a
we
clip of
played,
something
those were the
that you
people I propagandized for.
said about the October 7th terror attacks, and in particular, the attack at the music festival, which killed 260 people.
Look at this guy. You know what shouldn't happen? Killing 260 people at a music festival.
I haven't watched this whole thing, so I don't know if Piers is going to pull the 9/11 card on Hasan, because Hasan did the America deserved 9/11. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he said that, I think he got a temp ban.
Yeah.
No, you're right, man. That just happened on its own because bad guys wanted to do bad things. You're right. Dude, if they subjugated you to a open air prison your whole life, you're going to break out eventually when you realize that there's no other way to get out of it.
I mean, it sounds to me there, Hasan, that you are in some way saying they had it coming. Were you?
No, I wouldn't say that they had it coming. I think that Michael Brooks used to say, analysis is not justification. And while obviously civilian casualties and horrific barbaric acts that were committed on October 7 are completely unacceptable, The important thing to make sure that it never happens again is to analyze what are the conditions as to how it happened to begin with. And I think Ehud Barak is going to be on in a little bit as well, or maybe he's on before me. And
we have to analyze and give leeway to the people who did these atrocious things. But when somebody dead names somebody, they get no leeway. They're evil. Evil.
He has held the keys to the conversation and held the levers of the power in this conversation in many key and critical points. I would go so far as to say that he is among many others who also recognize that the Bibi Netanyahu administration is responsible. This is not just my assessment. This is 85% of the Israeli population's assessment at the time. This is years and years and years of refusing to negotiate with the Palestinian Authority. Don't take my word for it. Take Bibi Netanyahu's personal word for it. In 2019, in a closed-door conversation with Likud members, he said that if you want to thwart any kind of Palestinian nation state, you must do everything you can to only negotiate with Hamas. We control how high the fire goes. He has given cash to Hamas by way of Qatar.
The fire
rises. There's no bigger fan of Hamas than Bibi Netanyahu, which I hope one day you can maybe interview, and then you'll ask him to.
No, I actually did interview him a few months ago, and I did actually spell out to him that there have been a lot more Palestinian deaths this year so far, up to the point of the interview, than Israelis, and what he intended to do about it. He said then he didn't believe in collective responsibility, which is now this hot phrase in this whole crisis about whether you would hold all people in Gaza responsible for Hamas. Interesting to see if when they...
Can I ask you a
well, let
question?
me just finish my point. If they do then launch a ground invasion, it'd be interesting to see if they keep to that word. You know, I'm not a defender of what Bibi Netanyahu has been doing in Israel. In the last year, his attack on the credibility and integrity of the Supreme Court, I think, has been a disgrace. And I think it has fractured society in Israel. I also think that it's caused so much social unrest and had such big protests that you could argue it's taken the eye off the ball of the people who should have been defending the border because they've been trying to sort out what's been going on domestically, internally inside Israel. So I think it's a catastrophic failure of intelligence, of security, of defense, all of those things. I'll be amazed, frankly, if Netanyahu survives this. So I'm certainly not here to defend him, even if you do view me as a stenographer for his government. My question for you, I think, is this, is that I've had a lot of problems trying to get people on the pro-Palestinian side to separate two things. That you can say, as I believe and you believe, that the Palestinians have been maltreated for decades. That the situation where they are effectively... I mean, I don't even call it an occupation because Israelis aren't in Gaza. They pulled out in 2005. But they still control the ability of Gaza.
This is why I call you a propagandist.
I'm just saying the phraseology is confusing to me because the reality is Israel exercises control over people in Gaza.
I'll call you a cunt again, but I won't do any of those other things.
To turn on the tap of water
and so on and so on. What side is Jespro on here? This is confusing. Was that
apparently there? Because they can't live side by side with each other.
That's why it's called an open air prison.
I got a different tab open and sent you the wrong message.
That's why they call it the world's largest open air prison.
Yeah, but Hasan, I don't disagree with you, and I've pointed this out for a long time as a journalist. So we don't disagree about the appalling plight of Palestinian people.
The appalling plight of Palestinian people.
Who wrote that for him?
The appalling plight of Palestinian people.
I love alliteration, baby. It's so good.
The appalling plight of Palestinian people.
It's like what you say as you're getting ready to go on stage. Make sure your voice is like a vocal warm-up.
Latino.
The issue comes that if you can't separate that ongoing dispute between Israel and Palestine from the absolutely appalling barbarism of October the 7th, which was on a whole different scale to anything we've seen, where 1,400 people, Holocaust survivors, babies in their cribs, young women taken, tortured, abused, shot,
dogs
beheaded,
living with cats.
was reported, and so on. If we can't look at that collectively, with a general humanity and agreement that is an absolute atrocity, then there's something wrong with this. And I find that the tribalism on both sides is now so toxic and so frenzied that you get people who literally can't. We've had a bunch of actors right, signing this statement saying they want a ceasefire in Gaza and calling Israel war criminals and so on. But they don't say a word about the Hamas attacks that precipitated this. And I find that really hard,
right?
really hard to accept.
But do you agree with them? If they had said, for example, that October 7 attacks were brutal and massacres occurred, and then they said everything else, that Israel is committing war crimes, would you agree with them?
Okay, here's what I would honestly say about that. Is Israel not allowed to defend itself from the worst terror attack we've seen since 9/11? Is it not allowed to defend itself
just odd.
after
You said
1,400 people in Israel are butchered in that way? And the question then, if you assume that they are able to defend themselves, as any free democratic country,
that is the
then
Israeli
the question
State
becomes,
Department line,
Hassan,
that is the IDF's line, that is the line that everyone
Hassan, let me ask
channeled.
you this. It then becomes a question of how can they defend themselves? If their mission now is to get rid of Hamas, a terror
I think the
organization
10 seconds I watched of this interview was the best 10 seconds of this interview.
If that is their stated aim, then what they are doing is consistent with that, isn't it?
No. Here's why this is actually an abject failure, and this is not just my perspective on the matter. I'm just a dumb idiot with a Twitch stream who is live reacting to
Shit, that might trump baboon.
He called himself a propagandist too during this interview.
Propagandist is more fair though. Like,
yeah, well, he
dumb
is.
idiot. As a propagandist, it's great to have 2.5 million followers and 500 million views. But being a dumb idiot, that kind of takes the wind out of the sails of all these people following you and attacking other people because you tell them they're bad people online.
And trying to make sense of everything as it's ongoing. I usually have a policy of not covering breaking news, and sometimes that policy is violated, but ultimately I am not held up by the same journalistic standards, even though I think I do a much better job than most other news outlets in general. So let me just say this really quickly. You said Israel has a right to defend itself. Absolutely zero people think that this is a ridiculous statement. However, how Israel is defending itself is collective punishment. Now, collective punishment in the form of depriving 2.2 million people of electricity, collective punishment in the form of depriving them of water, of food, collective punishment of
Roger Wilco says make them all atheists and these problems will stop, right? You know how you make them all atheists? The same way they cured or stopped cancer.
Which they haven't. I mean, in some ways they blast them with radiation? Is that what you're saying?
No, when they bombed the cancer unit. That's how you're going to stop make them atheist. You're going to have to level them.
It is true, though. The divisions between these people are like at their base level religion. Like, there's probably a lot of genetic tie-ins, like genetically between they're both Semitic people. Like when we hear the term anti-Semitism, we always think of Jewish people specifically, like hatred towards Jewish people. But Arabic is also a Semitic language. Yeah, they're both Semitic peoples.
Are they more aligned with Sephardic Jewish people than Ashkenazi Jewish people?
Well, like to live in Israel, like you don't have to be a certain type of Jewish person. They qualify you by like your mother being Jewish or whatever, and then you can like apply for citizenship there, as far as I understand. I could be wrong though. I've never lived there. You can ask Joe. He actually lived there. He'd probably know better than me. But
you just have to. You don't have to. It doesn't matter if your mom is Jewish. You have to be Jewish. So you can live there if you're Jewish. And the easiest way to be Jewish is to have your mother be Jewish.
Your mother.
Your mother, baby. Come on,
I mean,
baby.
Didn't Joe try to live there and like got rejected?
He tried.
Yeah,
he tried.
So
he was going around wearing his best Jewish camouflage, and they caught him. They caught him like, I don't know. He got caught at dinner one night, and he used the wrong fork, and they were like, "Get the fuck out of here! Get out of here!"
51 people dying in the West Bank, where, there is no Hamas in the West Bank, and yet 51 people have died because in the West Bank, settlers that are occupying Palestinian territory in violation of the international law, settlers who are doing an act of colonial terrorism, and this is not my statement on it, this is international law, that are doing horrifying things by simply just existing there and maintaining the presence with an occupying force in the form of IDF, who was ritualistically humiliating Palestinians in a structure that B'Tselem, an Israeli organization, calls the permit regime, where every waking moment of Palestinians' lives in the West Bank are absolute hell, where they have no legal recourse. 51 Palestinians have died, and that was before the Ramallah protest that happened last night, and the Israeli forces were opening up with live fire on protesters last night. So who knows what that death toll has become? This is all a product of Israel being an apartheid state. This is a violent apartheid state. There is no way to be a peaceful
Hasan,
apartheid
let me ask you
state.
this.
It is a violence. It is a violence required for its maintenance.
Okay, listen.
And that violence is frustrating people.
I hear you.
That violence is radicalizing people.
But here's
Hold on.
as
far as Israel, as far as what Benjamin Netanyahu has done, as far as the war government, what they have done, Piers, going into Gaza and bombing Gaza and killing 3,480 Palestinians so far in Gaza, 1,000 plus children out of all of those casualties, 22 hospitals being bombed, a bakery, the only remaining intact bakery being bombed yesterday. These are horrifying crimes that you would openly say are horrifying and unjustifiable when Russia does it, but when Israel does it, Israel has a right to defend itself. This is identical to the same talking points that I've heard from every Israeli administration official. It's the same talking points that I've heard from American politicians championing the exact same talking points. It's the same thing that I've heard from everyone else in the media. You might have been against the Iraq war.
Is it the same thing as Israel and Russia?
I think I'm starting to get what this whole argument is. He's trying to justify the bombing of one country over the other, and he's trying to justify the retaliation bombing of the other country, and they're both saying, well, they're both bombing each other. And then they're trying to say who bombed who first, and they're arguing where the starting point is. I'm like, it's just continuing.
The first question you have to ask on who's right is who has the most money. The second question you have to ask is how likely are you to share that money with them? And then that's how you know who's got the right to bomb.
Both are justifying bombing.
In my opinion, at this point, if you are not sitting here and condemning those acts of war crimes, those acts of violence, those acts of collective punishment.
Well, I would say to that I think the death of any child in this conflict is horrific. Absolutely horrific.
The death of anybody in this conflict is horrific.
After an act of terror, as we saw on October
People
the 7th,
shouldn't die over shit, but it happens. What do we do now? We argue about it on fucking Piers Morgan?
Yeah, two very well-off people are arguing over who bombed who first or which bombing was more justified.
Yeah, at some point, it doesn't matter how rich you are. These guys are both well beyond the how rich you are point. What matters now is who's having the best sex.
Israel should be able to defend itself and should be able to go after the people that perpetrated that, who live amongst civilians in Gaza deliberately. And the question for me becomes down to what is proportionate. I don't know the answer, Hasan. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what that answer is.
I do know the answer to that. I do know the answer to that. Last night I had Dr. Ofer Kassif, an Israeli Knesset member who was expelled, suspended for 45 days for saying what I believe is the truth. Championing the exact same position of the Haaretz's editorial board. There are a lot of thoughtful people, a lot of formative Holocaust scholars, a lot of historians that all agree on the same point. The reason why violence that even penetrates through the Israeli security blanket that people thought existed, that penetrated through that Iron Dome, the Iron Wall, if you want to call it that, is because of years and years of oppression and years of violence, which is a necessity to maintain an apartheid state. And this has to stop. There's only two ways out of this. Either you engage in full-blown ethnic cleansing, and if you listen to the likes of Smotrich, or if you listen to the likes...
Let's go.
of Itamar Ben-Gvir and these very unfavorable, unpopular.
You know what? Honestly, though, this is the most I've ever seen Hasan say. Usually he's just like stuffing his mouth full of DoorDash and just like letting a video play and not say anything. Right?
Well, yeah, because that's his captive audience. He needs to step up and talk here. This is not a captive audience.
No.
He's on foreign ground. He's got to work. And honestly, he might still get some DoorDash. We haven't seen the end of this clip.
If you listen to Netanyahu and his Likud government, they say that they are interested in going in that direction, the ethnic cleansing direction, the ethnic displacement direction, or the only way out of this for a real solution is to move towards peace, to genuinely end the blockade, to end the apartheid, to end the occupation, and create a pathway towards citizenship for all people with a right to return, for all 14 million Palestinians, 5 million of which live under Israeli occupation. It's brutal. And then
who was the last person we watched
diaspora.
on Piers
These
Morgan?
Are not
Wasn't it just
requests.
Pearly Things?
These are requests that understand the dignity.
Did we watch Just Pearly Things on here? We watched
some clips of Just Pearly Things on Piers Morgan.
We watched a few others too. We've watched a couple Piers Morgans, I think.
He's going for that internet audience.
He is now. I mean, because he was fired. He was fired from the BBC. So that's why he's here now.
Humanity of one side and does not simply treat them as their colonial subjects.
Hasan,
and it's the only way to create permanent security and prosperity in the region.
If it was as simple as that, I'm sure that would have happened already. I would say this. I agree with
Why
all of what
hasn't
you
he
just
said
said.
no
Not all
shot
of it,
yet?
a lot of it.
Come on,
I don't
Hasan.
think you can ever achieve peace now with
Give him a
Hamas
no shot.
controlling Gaza. I don't think you can achieve peace with Netanyahu in charge of Israel, actually, after this. I don't think his own people will want him to be in charge
Hasan was
of
on
Israel down below when they
TYT for a period.
examine exactly how this happened. But we will see. But Hasan, I've got to leave it there. Look, it's good to talk to you. You know, you're an important, influential voice to a lot of people. And I think we have a lot of common ground, and there are some things that we disagree about. But
You're
it's not
also a
as much as you think.
self-admitted dumb idiot, and I am a self-admitted baboon.
Mickey, no, Hasan, I think used to do like segments on Young Turks. I don't think he.
Yes, he did.
His uncle is Cenk Uygur.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he was a nepo.
Presidential candidate Cenk Uygur, by the way. Did you know that?
I was like, I remember he used to show up a lot. He was related to somebody or did something on Young Turks. But I was like, no, he's not. He's not like an active character.
Back in 2016, his main platform was Facebook. And if you go back then, he had like a whole bunch of Facebook videos he would post, and he actually posted one about the whole like Milo on Drunken Peasants debacle. There's an old Hasan video back way before he was getting huge views from there.
He went back on TYT after the 9/11 deserved it to like get his sweet uncle lashings to make his way back into the mainstream. He's like, Uncle, I didn't mean America really deserved 9/11.
I think
that was the last time I saw him on there.
The core problem here has got to get resolved in a way that's been completely ignored for decades. And until it gets resolved, until the plight of the
that's how you
Palestinian
pronounce
people
it.
is resolved, until all these young people in Palestine feel there's some sense of hope and they can get out of what effectively is, as you say, a prison camp, then nothing is going to change. I don't think it justifies in any. Let me just say, I've got to finish it, but I don't think it justifies in any way what happened on October the 7th. But I do agree with you that until that core problem gets resolved, there will never be peace. Hasan, I appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Damn. And he was like, my DoorDash was just about to get here. Are you sure we can't go for like 10 more minutes?
Good God.
Honestly, the reason I hate Hasan is because he's in good shape and he can just stuff his face full of food and stay in good shape. And if I did that, I would gain like 100 pounds.
I don't know. He tells everybody he had a problem being fat.
I think when he was like a kid or something. And that changes, man. I knew people who were like freshman year, they were like fat, like full on fat for like their age. And then by the time we graduated, when
they were
like
6'4" and jacked.
Yeah, when everyone's done with puberty, they like without even trying, like got thin. You know, it happens. And some people start off thin and gain weight like me, and then some people just stay the same way.
He probably doesn't eat whatever he wants if what he says is half true.
Who knows?
He probably works out a lot.
Yeah, or just like going through puberty can like change your metabolism for some people too, like just that much.
If it's only a puberty thing and he's built like that and can eat whatever he wants, but he still talks about being a young fat kid, that's not right.
He probably works out. I would say he probably works
he
out.
needs to stop that. If he works out really hard and watches his weight, it's okay for him to be talk about his insecurities with overweight. But if he's just Uncle Momming, running around saying he was once a fat and he's built like that, then we got problem, Hasan.
I also hate Hasan because of his huge Turkish dong.
Yeah, man.
Have you seen it? Has that leaked or something?
I wish I had a nice greasy slinky.
The only way I can lose weight is to not eat every other day. Like 3 months ago, I started only eating every other day, and I've been like consistently losing weight ever since. It started off really fast, but now it's slow, but it's still slowly trending down. But man,
do you not lose weight when you stop drinking?
Just stop drinking and eat the way I want to? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't lose weight that way.
I lose weight if I stop drinking, but I also lose life.
You lose
happiness. I lose life, happiness, and joy. And I got 2 kids, so you got to drink because I'm like I gotta fucking.
No, like losing because, like honestly, well, I don't drink on my fasting days either. You know what I mean? When I say I don't eat, I also don't drink on my fasting days. So my calories are just by virtue of that cut in half. You know, and if I'm just like relatively active, I will lose weight. Yeah. And Billy had to quit drinking because he had his heart issues. So literally, if I stop drinking, we can't be the Drunken Peasants anymore. I'm doing it for the show, guys. I'm doing it for the show.
You hear that, everybody? He's doing this for you.
Yeah. Thank me later.
66%.
Yeah, guys.
In grades.
Yeah, guys. Do it for you.
It sounded like you were doing the Mama JF voice.
JF.
Poor woman. I hope she's alive. Maybe she's watching this on like a computer made out of coconuts, you know, like from Gilligan's Island or something.
Yeah, she probably watches this and masturbates. Like the rest of our fans do.
The other night, we had a troll in our chat pretending to be JF's like victim from back in the day that got taken away from him by the government.
The low IQ one that Texas said he couldn't date?
Yes, because me and Jeff went through the court documents and everything, and someone was like, and then there was like that chance where I'm like, what if that really was her? What if she has been, because she met JF because she was a fan of DP back in the day. It's like, could you imagine she's still watching all this time? I hope it's not. I hope it's a troll. Like,
I hope it's really her.
No, because she saw this horrible shit like about her and like him on here, like admitting like she was
but she's low IQ. She probably thinks it's cool. They're like, oh, they're talking about me again.
No, I don't want to go there. I don't want to assume that.
She's happy. Don't assume she's not happy watching it. Assume if she's here, she's happy and loves it and loves the attention. I mean, if she was willing to fall into the attention of JF, I'm sure it's pretty easy going to get for her reception of attention. And if she was a fan of JF's rapping, she must really love my music.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, did you see this? Did you see how people were going? Because like Eric July, do you know who Eric July is, Pat, first and foremost?
No idea.
Eric July is a guy who works for Glenn Beck's Blaze TV, and he crowdfunded this independent comic that we've read, and it sucks. There's no like real story arc. There's no like act 1, act 2, act 3. There's no plot. The art's okay because he hired good artists to do it, but basically this dude is just like a big buffoon and a lol cow. And he's black, so when we and his whole when we like criticize his comic, all of his fans just say we're racist and that's why we don't like it. And the whole gimmick of his comic is that it's not woke. Basically meaning there's no gay characters, there's no race swapping, there's like that kind of shit. So,
Okay.
So we finally found he's getting sued by this company that's called, his comic book is called Isom, okay? And he's getting sued by the International School of Ministry, Isom. So the other day in a video, because he didn't trademark Isom and this church owns this trademark, so he's getting sued over it.
Is this like WWF?
Almost.
They're pretty much.
With the World Wildlife Fund?
Yeah.
The difference is the World Wildlife Fund and WWF had an agreement put in place early on, and when they actually went to court, it was because they had been breaching that early on agreement. So this doesn't have an earlier precedent between the two. They're currently setting the precedent to find out what the agreement will be.
Okay.
So later on, so Eric July made a video the other day that was like, now I'm going to tell y'all what Isom is, and this is why they can't take it from me. It was my great-great-great-great-grandfather's name. His name was Isom Knox, okay? So people started going to the grave of Isom Knox.
Oh my God.
Not doing anything. Like they were taking like pictures next to it and stuff like that to troll this guy.
Catching Pokemon
This
on
guy,
it.
yes, this guy is so easily trolled. Someone made this animation and it's great.
Oh shit, dude.
Like, if this was Eric July's grandfather that died like 10, 20 years ago, I'd be like, this is too far. But it's a dude. It's one of his ancestors that died over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
He doesn't know
Nearly
him.
100 years ago, 1927.
Yeah, so.
This makes me want to burn this mother down.
Oh, yeah, he's reading the Isom comic book right there. Oh, dude, he's in the Isom warehouse. This is another like meme from the whole thing. Like he has a warehouse, but he only has 2 issues of comic books. He does not need a whole warehouse. He could like have like one of those printing services.
They just mail them off directly. Yeah.
Right.
You don't even have to get a warehouse.
He would save money that way.
Come on, Boogie, let's burn this mother down.
A massive warehouse fire sending smoke sky high.
Yeah, you can see the flames behind us this morning. Look at how intense that is.
Okay, so there was that. I thought that was funny. So, here's Eric July comparing him getting trolled on the internet to the Israel and Palestine conflict. Okay? Just let that sink in.
Finally, a based take from Eric July.
We have a right to respond. I just think that that response in a time of war that they didn't ask for is much different than Hamas going in and specifically targeting innocent children.
Well, again, what's going to happen is people are going to defend that action or
He's so eloquent. Just listen to him speak. It's
not
great.
even defense. It's more of speaking against, let's say, a reaction, because people are going to say, well, before that, they did this, and before that, that's how it always happens. This is how it is.
That was the argument we just watched.
But that's government problem.
100%.
Not innocent civilians.
I agree 100%.
Well, you said institution against institution.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And I've dealt with this, and I think everybody here has dealt with this on more of a micro level. It's a cultural thing. And any event that someone feels, and people that like follow me know where I'm going with this, I'm not going to bore anybody with the details because I have my own experiences here. But what happens is that in the event that people have made up their mind that you are not to be liked, okay? Whether it be a person, individual person, type of person, no matter what. Anything that you do is unjustified. Anything that someone else does to you is to be justified. And like to your point, you worded it perfectly where you say, hey, you're just supposed to take it on the chin. That's the expectation it is that they have for people that they despise. Now, why they despise them, whatever. Is it because they were told?
There's hate in their heart.
Is it hatred in their heart? Yeah, it could be various, whatever they've made up their mind that anything that you do is wrong. Yeah. Any reaction that you have is unjustified. But anything that you have, anything that someone else does to you, you had it coming.
Israel,
it was your fault. Yada,
Let's
yada, yada.
Make this about me.
think a lot of us deal with this, but what we're seeing right here is this more at like just a massive level. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like what's happening in my life is the same as what's going on like in Israel and Palestine. That's not what it is that I'm saying. I'm saying that approach to the response that people have is similar, and it can be applicable really anywhere else.
So
Air Joe says, why are they automatically on Eric's side? This is Blaze TV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're not going to question him.
On Glenn Beck's side, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's been on there for a while, and he's been on a variety of their shows. He's like a normal panelist where they're like, see, black people agree with us. Black people like us.
Billy, what are you doing?
He broke his mic stand.
Oh.
I could see the whole like stand like come down into his arm like that. Like he's setting it back up. Once he's got that, we'll move on to the next video. Everyone, please like the stream. We're an hour and 50 minutes in. We appreciate all your support. We're at 66.58% of the way to the goal. We're chugging along to that tip train. If you want to help out, please click on there and send us a couple bucks. That would be great.
Motherfuckers.
Focus on comics and your company. Stop feeding trolls. Ignore and block them. No more.
This is his
good call.
Yeah, someone's telling him because he can't. Like, he has to, like, publicly respond to everything. Like, every, like, little piece of bait.
Yeah, and that's what they want. So, like, stop feeding them.
What does this shirt say? Party like it's IGGA?
1999?
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, listen to how he responds to this question.
Focus on comics and your company. Stop feeding trolls. Ignore and block them. No more videos about lawsuits, please. Don't update us on it. It's none of our business. You're a company owner now, not an e-celeb. And again, I hate this whole feeding trolls thing because, again, it goes back to my original point. Trolls are trolls. They can feed off of shit. Literal shit.
Yeah, so don't be the shit.
Well, first of all, it's not literal shit. It's figurative shit, not literal. But what he's trying to imply that like Dick Masterson is like sitting at home with like a bowl of shit and he's like spooning it into his mouth or something.
Okay.
No bait, mate. Don't get irate.
Hey.
They got
Young
stomachs
Buckner.
that can, I mean, like of iron, right? There's nothing that I can do to stop them. Nothing. There's no feeding of them. I can't stop them from hate. I just can't. I'm not trying to. There's no attempt to because you can't anyway. However, no, this is playing out publicly, and there are certain things that need to be said publicly, and actually that has a lot to do with strategy. I would never say anything that is against the advice of my lawyers, of course. I would never do anything. But there's nothing that I would say about a lawsuit, for example, that would.
Yeah, he's getting sued. He didn't even make like a legit like counter offer. They were like, all right, well, we'll wait for your counter offer because they were like, we want royalties from your comic book because you're making millions of dollars. He crowdfunded like $2 million for his first comic book. And they're like, well, you're using our trademark. We think we have a good case. So how about we don't?
Like $3.5 million.
Was it the first one? And what was the second one? Like 2?
Over 2 million.
Over 2. So that's pretty good. Now, these are self-reported figures, but I'll just take them at face value. He has a really devout fan base that worship him like almost like he's God. It's crazy. But he they were waiting. The original Isom company that owned the trademark to the name Isom was like, well, wait until Sunday for your counter proposal. And it just never came. So now they're just full on suing him, and he's going to be like, oh, my legal team told me it's okay. I'm starting to think he just has like a subscription to like LegalZoom or something, and that's his legal team.
Well, we have to take a look at the legal team that's now turning on Donald Trump right now. Just because you have a legal team doesn't mean they're good.
jeopardize shit. Right? And this is another thing that I don't understand. And I would fight back on, actually, to your point, is that giving public statements to a lawsuit is a norm. So why is it that when I say something about it, it's a problem? And I'm asking you that genuine. That's not even a rhetorical question.
Well, maybe it's because what you're saying can be picked apart like crazy by the people who are goading you into saying it. They're not trolls because you're not biting their line. They're trolls because you bite every fucking time they drop their line into the water.
Everyone slips and like has their weak moments, but most of the time you can like push it aside, especially when you're this successful. See, his problem is, though, he doesn't talk about how cool his comic book is or the characters or like what they do or anything. It's always him complaining about his haters. And he was like, I monetize my haters. So he was bringing focus on detractors. He calls them detractors too. It's almost like a cult. It's almost like Scientology. The way they talk about detractors is almost like suppressive persons or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he bit off more than he could chew with, because like Dick Masterson and his whole crew like jumped onto it, and now they troll him relentlessly. And he preferred the haters that were like mentally ill and shit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's where we are.
He needed the easy detractors he could knock over like bowling pins with bumpers on the side.
Exactly.
And now his detractors are hunting him, and he's getting eaten up left and right. He continues to make terrible mistakes. He went on Nick Rekieta's show, and absolutely, Rekieta was there in good faith, and he destroyed that good faith. He's been making mistakes left and right, and he is really, really, it's great to see because Dick did so well with the Maddox lull suit. To have a lull suit too, Electric Boogaloo.
I will say that is one of the insanely rare times where when you're getting sued, it's okay to talk about it. Dick Masterson versus Maddox. Because like most people, I'm like, oh, you're getting sued by your former business partner? You probably should not talk about that on your popular podcast.
Keep your mouth shut. Like, don't even mention anything about it. Don't give them anything that they can play in court.
Except for when Dick Masterson did it. He did it so well that he stole, because they used to do, Maddox and Dick Masterson used to do a show together. And, and Maddox fired him and just like tried to like scrub him from history and pretend like he was like it and never talked about it again or anything. And Dick just started talking. I've heard that happening. Yeah, and he yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, and he stole like the whole audience and turned the whole audience on Maddox and kept making more and more and more and more money because he was able to paint himself as like a victim.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of how it played out. So yeah, that was the very rare time where actually it was a good idea to like just put everything out there, but normally no, I wouldn't do it.
You should put everything out there if you know it's gonna go to the person you're in the lawsuit with into doing worse stuff themselves. Like he knew Maddox. He had him set up. He was just feeding Maddox to make more mistakes and making tons of money off of it.
He was making a crazy money. He still does, but I love Jared. Isn't he great?
No.
So is gonna go sue so and so, and then that company. It's funny you say you're a company owner. That company representative or attorney that represents them or the publicist or PR or whoever would come out and have a full statement specifically addressing it. So why is it that when I do it, it's a problem?
Because you do it in a way that causes problems. That's simple. You're too dense and stupid to realize the problems you're causing, and you're dumb enough to put the blame on everybody else. It's actually the best part of a victim is when they go around asshole first in a dildo storm and then say, that guy fucked me. They fucked me. They fucked me. Fuck you. You're doing this to yourself, buffoon.
Is it just a again? That's not a rhetorical question. I'm just curious. Why is it that it's different for me?
I don't think he would understand if someone told him.
Yeah, I've literally just responded twice in the time it's took him
When
to
it's a
ask
standard
3
for
times.
everybody else.
Where's
For
not
me, it's a
rhetorical? It's not
problem.
rhetorical.
And really, the
You're
reason
gonna
that's
keep
happening
asking the same questions when you don't accept the obvious answers. Deputy dipshit.
is because, and I'll acknowledge that. I have no problem acknowledging that. Is that these people are listening to folks that really are out of their wit on the issue, and that person's telling them that I shouldn't do X, Y, and Z. And because you value their opinion over mine, you think that I'm in the wrong. That's not to you, Scorpio. I'm not saying that to you. That's what some people may believe, and that's why it's a problem when I do it versus when someone else does it. I need there to be understanding that, again, I don't say anything that's against the advice of a legal team it is that I have, but I also would encourage you not to underestimate the legal team it is that I have, like at all. Please don't do that.
I underestimate them because you say they give you this horrible advice.
Yeah,
these guys know what it is that they're doing.
Yeah, they're fucking with you.
They know
dude.
what they're doing. And like I said, if you think that I'd be foolish enough to go against their advice, I think you underestimate not just them, but you underestimate myself.
Do we underestimate Eric July?
You know,
I just met the motherfucker,
and
and I think he's beyond his depth.
Yeah, he. In some ways, I think he might just be like a figurehead for this whole thing, and there might be other people kind of like pulling the strings behind him. I do know that like he used to be in a band, or maybe he still is in this band, and a lot of his band members are also like part of this organization, but they're not like the faces of it. They're kind of like in the background.
He gave them all jobs because they're lifetime fucking band people. They're dudes in a band, and now he can put them on the payroll and give them a little bit of the money he's siphoned out of all the fucking people who believe this comic book company is going to be the next big wave. And he just gave his deadbeat bandmates a fucking corporate gigs is all. They sit around the warehouse all day, probably playing with their fucking pud, talking about how they're going to write the next big new wave dickhead rap metal album.
Appropriate, and when it is advised, because this is playing out the way that it's playing out, when it is advised from the people that, you know, are my legal counsel, if you will, to say something, I will, but I won't say anything outside of that. This is why, you know, we said what we said in the video, our public statement, our official public statement, which was actually in response to the other parties. I haven't said anything else outside of that pertaining to that. I've only repeated, if anything, what it is that was echoed in that video. I have nothing else to say because there's nothing else to say. And I think people need to understand as well. I don't know if this is, again, maybe bad information that people are getting from others, but y'all do understand that just because it doesn't, all right, let's say this. Let's say this whole thing plays out. It goes through the legal process. Let's look at the absolute worst case scenario for like, let's say us as a party.
Yeah, let's see.
Y'all do understand that the absolute worst case scenario
As a party? That's
as a party.
Scenario is not like this guy goes away. It's not.
So he's saying like the guy, he's like, this guy won't go away, but he doesn't say the name. The name is
I like
probably
how he specifically didn't use the name.
right.
It's
This
not
guy.
like this guy goes away. As a lot of you don't know, his name, Avery Slenderman, his superhero name, Isom, Avery Slenderman's named after my grandfather. Isom's named after my great-grandfather. Well, guess what? Nobody knows that my great-great-grandfather's name was Stinky Dick Man. This guy will be Stinky Dick Man.
Rippaverse as a company is now owned by someone else, or Rippaverse as a company is bankrupt. That's not what's happening. That's not what ends up happening. It would be a worst case scenario, some adjustments, but that's really it. It's not as, I don't know, bad as maybe some people may assume, even in the absolute worst case scenario, right? This is not something that would just completely it's worse. Like I said, let me just reiterate what I said in the video. We've assessed the risk, and it's worth it to fight like hell. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. It's worth it to fight like hell, and you should fight like hell. But you also should maybe not be a lolcow.
And another interesting thing
for
is
us,
that
I love it. Be a lolcow for us, but maybe for your own sake, stop biting every fucking fish or every hook that comes by, you little fish.
The person that we're mentioning earlier, that was just mentioned, has a lawsuit that they're going that they have levied on themselves, and that's always interesting. How that person,
the
again,
Mad Clown
it's more,
suggested
hey,
the Ripperverse is a money laundering scheme. That could be very probable. I'm sure there's a lot of money going around.
What's the real operation that isn't money laundering? Like you're hiding your illegal operation?
Well, it might not be directly money laundering, but there could be a lot of donations going into this that then become write-offs.
Right. I mean,
the
like
bigger
getting a
people on
giant
Blaze
warehouse
TV.
for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, there could be a lot of money moving around here that would maybe instead go towards paying taxes. I don't know.
I mean, they're already doing that weird charity thing where they're like, hey, buy this comic book and we'll donate the comic book to it. They're making people buy comic books so that they can donate it to the charity.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the charity is for child burn victims, and they're literally going out and burning children so they have more victims to donate to. It's so fucked up.
What?
Because that might not be true.
Damn it.
You know, we value this person's opinion. Can talk about, I mean, really a lot, right? Talks about it a lot. That their own individual lawsuit, right?
Right. I like Eric has the same mixer and microphone as I do.
Again,
why isn't his microphone falling off his desk?
A real song that was
Asshole.
going on for a while. It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. Like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, no, it is cool when they do it. It is a problem when you do it. This is the same thing that goes with literally everything. Some people do things cool, and some people do things uncool.
We got this, bro.
That's how things work. People are cool and uncool.
Don't hear it from us.
They're not equal.
It's.
I don't know if you'd be shouting
take
at
it
a
with a
black
grain
man.
of
They're not
salt.
equal.
Let's just say that everybody's gonna have their opinion. That's
Hey,
what the internet is. A bunch of
because
people.
they're equal, I'm shouting at everybody. The same reason I shout at people who are sick in the head, people who are dealing with horrible life problems. I pick on literally everybody equally, including myself. I am probably the most fair and balanced human being in the entire world. I challenge anybody to be more fair and balanced than I am. It's not worthwhile. It's not a big money-making thing to be fair and balanced. I'm literal Jesus with my fair and balanced actions.
Well, it's a bunch of people with opinions, and they're free to have them. Just understand, as I have said many times, just because they have an opinion does not make it the opinion. And that's not how stuff plays out. It doesn't play out. It's not going to play out based on that person or group of people's opinion publicly. They have nothing to do with this. So trust me, I would never say anything or really do anything that would end up jeopardizing anything that we have going right now. That'd be fucking foolish to do that. And
That would be foolish. And what everybody's accusing you of is being foolish. At this point, you can prove them you're not foolish by working and doing what you plan to do, or you can continue to answer to everybody calling you foolish by saying, guys, if I was doing what they were saying I was doing, I'd be foolish. So they're saying you are, yes, foolish. Everybody's saying you're foolish, including yourself if you accept what they say. Just ignore what they say. If you weren't foolish, you would ignore them like the whole beginning of that video was. You spent the whole time of that video asking, why would I do this if I wasn't foolish?
If I was foolish, I would tell you all this information right here and then start listing off all the shit.
Right? That's what he did.
Like, that would be a
Fucking
foolish thing
madman.
if I told you all that shit.
Would that not be foolish? It's literally what we've been saying. Yes, it would be foolish. Now you have the opportunity to prove us wrong, and guess what we lose if you prove us wrong? Nothing. guess what we win by you doing anything but proving to us you're not foolish. We got your attention. We got you reacting. We've won. Leave us alone. Fuck your lawyers. Listen to us. Leave us alone. You don't want to respond. Best case scenario, you stop responding and start telling your fan base about all the cool shit you're working on.
Now he's going to make a video game. Here's the thing about him making a video game.
All right. What would be my perfect game? Well, that'd be a tough question to answer, but I'll make it even tougher. If the Rippaverse continues to rise and we could make our own dream game, no budget concerns, what kind of game would it be? We're talking about the most ambitious.
I'll tell you what, this is kind of promising because he's talking like about creating something and not complaining about people who don't like him.
Game. I've answered this question before on stream, but let's really go through this. If we had no budgeting concerns, I'm not trying to make the most widely accessible game. In my opinion, this approach has plagued modern gaming. Developers are trying too hard to make games for the lowest common denominator. When I say accessible, I'm not meaning the colorblind.
When I say
I'm saying,
accessible, it's
like,
because I
trying to
cannot
appeal
pronounce
to people
accessible.
that can play the game and catering to their experience. But accessibility does not mean good. Just because a bunch of people can play your game does not make it good. And having a specific target audience is not a bad thing. Nor does it mean
so
that
Eric July, am bringing you ISOM, the unplayable video game. Don't worry, it will cost twice as much as a playable game, but you won't be able to play it. Buy it, you'll love it.
It's just E.T. from Atari.
Oh my God. How much was the ISOM comic book originally? $40?
What?
I think it was $35, $45.
Yeah,
But there was a bunch of other printings and ones that were like up over $100, I think.
There's like hologram covered ones and that kind of shit.
Look, you guys, a playable video game is a thing of the past. The future of video games is the Gideo game. It's gone. You can't play it. It's gone.
can't be
Gideo
very profitable.
game.
So let me first bring up the culture and approach of this dream game before we get into the genre. I want to make a game for people that are going to play the game. The people that are going to be invested, clock a lot of hours in. It's not for people that want to play it once a week, 45 minutes, pre-gaming, sipping a little Bud Ice before they go to the bar. It'd be a game for gamers, not really casuals. It would not be easy, and I don't care about games journals or streamers wanting to hurry up and complete it just so they can move on to the next game, get their reviews in. No pay to win or pay to progress mechanics either. There will be an obvious skill gap in it, and the game simply will not be able to be played by every single person that exists, nor will it be every person's cup of tea. The game will not play itself, and we are prioritizing actual gameplay over cinematics. Our goal is to make the best game for the target audience.
Do you think he even has a good game engine in mind?
I don't think he does at all. I think he's just.
I don't think he understands it.
He's just blue sky and this shit.
He's like, look, there will be no paywall. You pay for it up front, and then you have to grind mindlessly, hours a day. You can't just beat the game because you grind hours a day doing basic bullshit. As I saw him, instead of going out and fighting like a superhero, you stay back on the farm and you grow corn. Corn is a man's game.
You generate a cryptocurrency when you play it. How about that? No one's tried that before.
I wouldn't be surprised if he monetized his fan base through crypto farming.
That out the way. What would be the genre? Many of you know that I like action RPGs, so that would be what I'd want to build. We still have not got that next generation action RPG. Cyberpunk turned out to not be that, and Starfield doesn't seem to be that either. With the obvious growth of technology and these engines, I feel as if we're overdue. The same can be said about MMOs. The genre has been very stagnant, and we've got a lot of big promises that always seem to underdeliver. You see a lot of Korean developers try, and boy, do they know how to cut a trailer. So, for this dream game,
do they know
I'd
how
love
to cut a
build
trailer?
Online action RPG. Maybe it's not like an MMO in the traditional sense, but I'd like for the base to be online with both cooperative and a touch of PvP content. Not to say that I wouldn't be willing to build an ISOM or a Yaira game. We're just talking about the dream game here. So instead of having you play as Rippaverse characters, I'd want you to be able to create your own except. So we focus on
except that's like his version of mutant.
Character customization.
Because they're
and give you the
exceptional.
Tools to create. That doesn't mean that known Rippaverse characters would not be in the game. They'd appear, but they just wouldn't be playable. Maybe we start with Flores Park as that base start city and branch out from there. So you'd inevitably see Rippaverse characters, and there would be cool ways to implement them. Now I know.
And being in the Rippaverse, we are committed to only 2 genders.
DC Universe Online? Yes and no. Obviously, DC Universe Online is dated. I collect a lot of hours in that bad boy. But my criticism of that game has been the same I've had for other MMOs. It feels like the gameplay and combat is an afterthought. It becomes like item management, the game. The combat isn't really engaging, and you can kind of sleep through it. Before we even get to build out the game, we'd start with the combat and general gameplay loop. Everything extends from how the game plays, not the other way around. We're not going to create a game and then say, oh, people got to actually play it. So here's what I'm thinking for a combat system. I'd like this to be a mini fighter of sorts. This would very much be a controller-driven game, but I have some ideas about input options too. We'll talk about that in a bit. Marvel's Avengers was a game that failed because it did exactly what I said.
So he's just going to list off games that he likes but is also annoyed by.
Yeah.
Because this entire thing is him dreaming.
So it's like going to be like that, but not like that.
But it's not even him actually doing this. It's him just daydreaming about how he would copy these platforms' best features and turn it into a game, not knowing anything about making a game.
He's blue sky and how great this game would be. This is Trump saying how great the country is. It's just like you're saying a lot of things, but there's no way to get from that point to completion because it doesn't. You've got nothing mapped out to get there. It's just it's like, oh man, this would be the most awesome game ever made. And like, you think every game creator hasn't tried to fix all the problems with other games, and they still come out with a game like Cyberpunk, and it just doesn't land.
But the one good thing he has is a fan base of idiots with extra income. So maybe he'll be able to get them all to invest in this, and then 10 years later, they'll forget they did, because that's how long it will take him to dodge them for never releasing his game.
I hope he works with Activision.
Will fail.
He'll probably work with some alt-right affiliate of
combat system and its setting. What I mean by that is that we got to see a true live response combat system with heroes varying in their powers. I imagine for our game, it would be a mix of that with maybe even a hint of Dragon Ball Xenoverse. The point is it's live response, and I don't want it to be a button masher. I want there to be combos when it comes to melee that's based on both the button combinations and the timing. When I say live response, I mean that there's going to be an obvious skill gap because of the reaction speed.
I tell you like if he sat down and had a conversation with a bunch of great game creators and starts pitching this to them, like, oh, okay, all right, okay, I see that, right, all right, this is going to cost you like $5 billion.
Yeah. But he's not pitching it to them. He's pitching it to his audience that keep throwing money at his bullshit.
Yeah, and it's just going to end up being like a side scroll. Like,
yeah, it's going to be a fucking
Castlevania 3.
It's going to be an elevated version of Mahjong.
thoughtful weave and dodge mechanic, that's going to be key. With the primary gameplay, I like the characters to have two main stances, if you will. A general stance, which will allow them to freely aim and target wherever their character is facing, and then a fight stance, which not only allows the user to focus on one enemy, but it would also change the combinations and moves that are available to you. Because this would basically change that game into like a 3D fighter. This is where I'd imagine some of the PvP could exist. Balancing that would be one hell of a challenge, however. And that's where Xenoverse lacked. But my idea to address accessibility concerns would be in the gameplay and the class system. Though melee type of combat, that's going to be where most people gravitate to.
These are like the few animations that he commissioned for this. It's not like we've never complained. I mean, like there's some weird artwork inconsistencies and like spelling errors and stuff in the comic, but like the art, like I'm not a good artist, so I can't be like, oh, I could do better than that.
It doesn't matter to defend the art anyways, because he's got $6 million for 2 comic books. He's going to be able to afford to hire anybody to do 30 seconds of decent fucking animation, which he's going to use over and over again in every possible video he can, like he's doing here.
Right, because it looks like this is
can think of a
what
few-
you're going to expect.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
The art looks great. It's fine. I like it.
It looks fine. I wouldn't even say great. Like there's nothing in these comic books. There's nothing in these comic books that makes me say, God damn, this is fucking awesome. It's just like, oh yeah, this is acceptable. And then when you look at the writing, you're like, oh, this is not acceptable.
This is subpar. Did anybody want to do like a walkthrough on this script and like punch it up? Nothing?
Yeah, not at all. Anybody want to tell him to add some sort of fucking consistency?
Like has he never like seen like the hero journey arc, like just like the wheel where you just gotta, write it out like this?
It's so far off from the hero journey. Halfway through, he's his point of going to save this girl that an elder of his church's niece or whatever or granddaughter has been possibly kidnapped by an old cohort of his, and he goes in, but breaks into this guy's building to save this girl, and doesn't get her. And then goes back to his sisters. It ain't about her anymore. I was disrespected. It's like what? You're not a hero at all.
Options.
You're a piece of shit.
Much variety as we realistically
it's got ADD is the problem.
And DUM.
He got a bad case of the DUM.
Out much of a meta. Easier said than done, I know. But what if we had a couple of shooter classes that could act as range? Basically, for them, this could turn the game into sort of an FPS, and that can be where those mouse and keyboard enthusiasts really thrive. On the other hand, there may be someone that likes the overall concept of the game, but they aren't good on the controller and they have, let's say, poor reaction speed. What if there's a class that prioritizes the use of technology? Maybe they can hack things that impact the battlefield. Maybe it's easier for them to scout for hidden items on a given mission.
And maybe, and this is more likely of my fan base, maybe
like he's making something for everybody.
Maybe you're such a fucking idiot you can't do anything, so we're gonna have the first game with playable NPCs.
Playable NPCs. That's so innovative. Why would you give that away for free on air?
Yeah.
Like playable NPCs.
For all you deputy dumb shits out there that love ISOM, for $500 you could be a playable NPC.
You basically just get to watch this person walk around and look at the ground and pick up something.
Well, like I guess in a way, what's her name? Pinky Doll. She's a playable NPC because she plays an NPC, right?
She's an NPC that exists just to entertain what we would call NPCs. She's the queen NPC.
They can deploy drones.
Ice cream's so good.
Or give technical buffs to their allies. tactical advantages, maybe special crafting advantages or use of vehicles. It'll make them very, very useful. And I think the little stuff like this could allow for the different type of gamer. But depth of the game would be a key thing for us. This is why I wouldn't want to waste many resources into the cinematic stuff and I'd weave the story into the actual gameplay. I want our resources to be allocated towards giving you all of the best possible gaming experience. I want there to be variation between the characters you all create. As you progress, I want there to be certain decisions that you have to make, and that's going to truly make your character unique. This requires a detailed skill tree between various classes. No two characters.
So just shit that already exists.
Like the biggest fucking game. I can't imagine what the download on this is going to be.
I love to see him on his Twitch stream playing other games. He's over here doing what he does, and he's just explaining what he's like. In the perfect world, I would like to play a game I would enjoy, and I think I'm capable of bringing that to you. Good fucking luck.
Exactly alike. Now, navigation would be another thing.
And they're definitely not going to ask your pronouns when you start playing.
We'd have to address it. Be big. I'd want some sort of open world, but maybe not one that's
kind of an open world, but kind of not. Kind of an RPG, but also kind of a first-person shooter. Kind of 3D, but also maybe kind of a 2D side scroller. You know,
it's all things. So it's like when Homer made the car.
Oh, dude, I love that episode. It had a weird bubble dome on it.
Yeah, it had a bubble and wings. And
yeah,
it had Rack and Peanut steering though.
Open just for the sake of being open. That means that traversal sort of elements have to be considered. Also, for technical reasons, the major missions maybe make more sense to be like a hub base instead of just part of the open world. And I lean towards smaller parties than massive. I for sure want raids and such, and I want that emphasis on the co-op element, but not just a million characters fighting some big enemy. Which brings me to the mission types. I think this is also where we can address different types of heroes.
I want Eric to kickstart a game so bad now that he's described the Ultra Triple A game because he would get $5 million and deliver some trash made on RPG Maker.
Right? It would be the worst fucking piece of shit game, and that's what makes it worthwhile. I do want his fans to fund this garbage and just see in 3 years, because they're dumb. They're probably not reading the comic book.
It's
coming out so slowly they can't even tell if it's going to get good.
Yeah, they're just supporting the momentum, and they're not going to.
Could you imagine?
They're gonna know.
Could you imagine watching a show on Disney Plus where one episode comes out once a year? Because that's what they get with Isom.
Oh, well, that's the problem I've had with certain shows, especially after when they started pre-pandemic and then post-pandemic. I'm like, wait, I got to start all over again. I don't even remember the fuck these motherfuckers.
But that wasn't done intentionally. Mainstream comics, there's usually one issue a month, or it's at least quarterly. You know, this
also,
is
Umbrella Academy or whatever. I was like, wait, holy shit! I got to rewatch the first season. I have no idea what the fuck is happening.
Yeah,
I forgot what everyone was doing.
Yeah, and wasn't there one season where one of the girls comes back as a guy?
Yeah, Elliot Page.
It was so confusing.
Oh, okay.
And they just decided
in real life they came back as a guy.
Yeah.
That's why.
So Elliot Page just became a guy, and they just decided not to address it. They just started, I guess, the character. They just started calling the character by the first initial of the character name, just V. Just V.
Rest in peace, Ellen's beautiful breasts.
Oh my god!
All right, Jordan.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
He lost his whole Twitter because he was being a little prick to Elliot Page.
Ugh.
I had no idea. Yeah, Billy was in this movie, and it started years ago. And throughout the movie, his weight fluctuated, but it wasn't shot in chronological order. So, one scene, he'll be 100 pounds lighter than in the next scene. It's crazy. I want to see. Is it out yet? Have they released it?
I don't know what's up with it. I think it might be in developmental hell, and it wouldn't be developmental at this point. It would be. I I don't know what it's gonna get released on. If it might come out any fucking time. I don't know.
Yeah, it's I've only seen like screenshots where you're like pointing a gun in a woman's face.
Yeah, she had it coming.
Are you a guy that's more stealth? Are you a guy that's like a pure brawler? Or are you more of a solo type guy? Those types of decisions will be made by you as the game player. Our job as devs will be to provide as many scenarios as possible that suit your hero. Of course, there will be base missions that are played by all types of heroes, but I do think the team element is where this game is
I mean, he definitely
thrive.
plays a lot of
Imagine
games and
a
knows what he's
mission-based-
talking about game-wise, but like it sounds like the biggest game ever, and it would be a huge download, and I can't imagine the amount of people you'd have to do to create what he's describing.
Oh, it's because he doesn't even know what he would have to do. He's just thinking, I made a comic.
Yeah, it's like he's like, I want it to be like a RPG, but I also want it to be like first person shooter. And then I think also should be like this big open world concept kind of thing, so you can like move, like not MMO, but like but kind of like MMO. But then I'm like, dude, what? You got to have a direction. Get a starting point.
There's no company that would be like, yeah, we can do this for you for any amount of money he could fan raise. Like it's not gonna happen.
Well, yeah, because but he'll come in on Monday and say, well, we got to work on this, and then on Friday he'd be like, okay, I changed my mind. The thing we were doing, I think we should. They're like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
On a 5-player.
I want to see it.
But not just simply 5 players in the same place, going place to place on a level. Maybe it's a rescue mission, let's just say that. And you have maybe a technical specialist and a stealth agent. Maybe those two, as part of the same mission, are working together to take a hidden route to disable comms and break out the subject. The other 3 are moving through the main entrance, fighting various types of enemies, purposely causing a commotion. Maybe one of those 3 is a shooter that picks people from afar, while the other 2 are truly in the mix, front line. It's stuff like that that I think would
Yeah, you
make
said
for a
that
fun
earlier with the fucking Archer bit. Goof.
And I want there to be incentives for those that work as a team. Maybe you can build your own guilds, bases, and actually those bases have function to them. Either way, once people get towards
Maybe if you work as a team, everybody can
the
get
game
together in the back room and touch dicks.
won't be easy. There will simply be certain parts of the game that some people will have a lot of trouble getting past. And there's nothing wrong with that. We wouldn't patch it to make it easier as long as it's fair. Get good. It's about engaging gameplay. It wouldn't be one of those that you can.
That is a true gamer right there.
What game is this?
Yeah.
Mission, talking and giggling with your chat.
I don't even know. Someone watching will know.
Finally, the gear and item system would have to be robust. I want there to be a difference between item
He
management
wants a third-person platformer MMO FPS.
for, let's say, a technical specialist and one that's like front line. There needs to be some differentiation. I want there to be unique gear that impacts the game play, unique move sets that makes you feel like an absolute badass, but also it's so unique that maybe only your type of character can pull that off. So when you match
like
up
an
with
exotic
randoms
weapons and armor
quest and you roundhouse kick someone out of his shoes, they ask you, what the hell was that and how did you do it? And then you say it's because your character was a martial artist and that you completed this mission that was specific to that class and your hero type. And at the end of it, you're trained in a portal with a Rippaverse character and it was taught to you. But only a select few can do it.
What's her name? What's this character's name?
Yara.
Yara. Yeah. The blonde woman.
He's gonna get like $2 million to make this game, and he's gonna deliver a side scroller 10 years later.
yeah, like a platforming side.
Yeah, 16-bit side scroller 6 years later.
It adds.
I keep picturing that like that little water game from the '80s where you fluff the rings up into the hooks. You know what I'm talking about? That little,
I love that shit, dude.
Water thing, you shoot the
rings. The little floaty rings.
Yeah.
They got to get on the pin. Fuck, I want to play that right now. Do they have an online version of that? Someone in the chat right now, tell me what that is. I got to download that on my phone.
That's how,
It's
like,
gotta
as he's
exist.
talking, like, that's what he's going to come out with. It's just going to be
right? I want that so bad. Holy shit.
rarity and uniqueness. That's what being a hero is about. Anyway, I could talk about this type of stuff all day. I don't want to get ahead of myself and rambling about my dream game. Perhaps this is just part one, and maybe if the dream becomes more of a reality, we'll have a little more in-depth discussion about my ideas.
Maybe if you should start giving me money.
What do you think?
It's going to have to be a big crowd, like crowdfunding a video game is going to cost a lot more than a comic book.
It's not.
There's no way.
It's not even a real thing in his own mind. That's why he's saying it's a dream game the entire time. He doesn't even think it's going to happen. He's just making some content that's not him defending himself from the trolls.
That is good, though. That's a good change. Have you guys ever heard of Star Citizen? No. It's a game that was announced like 10 years ago, maybe even more, and they've crowdfunded like something crazy like $100 million, and it has never come out as a full game.
Well, you see that all the time with like those Kickstarters that I was like, man, y'all are trying to do too much, and the game will never come. It just I think they're happy. They're hoping it'll get bought by a game developer.
Video games
and they don't have to keep it going.
Yes.
Yeah. This is definitely a vaporware targeted towards ADD nut huggers, dick riders, meat riders, all his fan base. Like, oh, this Eric, that's perfect. It applies to me and everyone I know because it was such a wide scope of people for it to apply to. We love it, Eric. Oh my God, here, take some money just to think about the dream game.
Oh my God,
Eric.
it's $600 million.
600 million?
Yes.
Yeah.
For a game that still hasn't come out yet?
Yes.
Has it come out?
I
guess pieces of the game must have come out, right?
As of February yes, there's little playable pieces of the game, but it's not one congruent game. There was an article that came out in February announcing that they topped 550 million in crowdfunding this game. It was announced. I remember it was over a decade ago I first heard about it. I had a friend that was all excited about it, and he's like, oh, I bought a license for it, and he showed me like the few parts of it you could play at that point. I don't know how much you can play now. I just know the full game still has never come out. Here's another thing. There was this comic book artist that worked for Eric July that was like, hey, you should probably like not respond to everyone trying to troll you. And he sent them this DM that kind of sounds like he's almost like threatening them. And it's very strange.
Now, we read this yesterday, right?
Yeah, and I was going to play for you the reaction that Ethan had. Like, he made a video talking about it. It's kind of interesting what he says in it. But, yeah.
He says, everybody I do shows and streams with knows not to bring up any gripes with people I'm cool with, as I will not give it the time of day. Saying, I won't work with you if you bring up shit like this.
Yep. Yeah.
God, he's got thin skin.
Yeah. Which is, one of the best qualities of a lolcow.
I hate to leave, but I'm hitting
no problem, sir.
My witching hour for me.
I hate to see you
it's
go.
3 hours ahead
with
there
us tonight.
Yeah, it's midnight, and the kids are definitely going to be getting up around 6:30. So I'm like, I better
get your sleep, Pat. Thank you for hanging with us.
But I miss you guys. Hadn't been in a while, but I'll let you know once Fane's leg is better.
Yeah, we'll get you booked again soon.
Tell Fane that we will massage his cankles or whatever he needs.
His cankles. We'll do. All right, boys. Good seeing you. I will talk to you all next time.
All right. All right. Switching to this view. So this is him kind of addressing like why he leaked the DM and that kind of shit.
To make fun of me again.
Whoa!
Why the fuck are
Garcia
you not
got the
donating
sticker.
to the Sweet Boys? Also, I got my sticker today.
That's cool. Yeah, I sent them out a little while ago, so hopefully everyone got them. I know, like, the U.S. mail sometimes can move a little slow, but I'm glad you guys got it. Most people have said that they have it.
Have my beautiful, amazing Phillies play.
Yeah, he's all decked out in Phillies gear. He's got like a jersey and a cap and like overalls and everything.
The overalls are kind of fucking tight.
They're kind of cool.
Be real.
I want him to stand up so I can see like what it's all about.
On the one hand, I don't want the Astros to get it because then Chad Townsend's going to make fun of me again. But on the other hand, it's a chance to get revenge. So maybe we do want the Astros today. And
if you're a comic book fan, I don't see this a lot. He's got a comic book rack in his room here. I don't see that in a lot of comic book fans' rooms.
Yeah,
but that makes a lot of sense. That's a
cool.
great display piece too.
Like what you'd see in like a newsstand or something.
Yeah. Growing up as a fat kid, I always wanted to have like a store rack of snacks in my room. Like they would have a display in a convenience store. I always thought that would be cool. This is good for a comic book nerd.
Look like Mario. Thank you. Nice strap pants, no belt needed, says Steve Larry. We got to get back to this again. This is the way men used to dress. They used to wear overalls. What are my Phillies overalls?
That's how men used to dress.
This is the way men used to dress.
Ready to go to the game. I wish I could afford it. All right, let me see what you guys are saying here. Brian Ricard says, "Can you dance erotically like Eric?" Oh boy! Ooh. All right, we got a lot to talk about today, guys. And listen, I'm going to be here to answer your questions and stuff like that. Feel free to wing them at me here. But yeah, today was a day. Antoine's here. He's on Twitter. EVS the liar and cheat. Hail, he says. Oh, Antoine, my friend. All right, so today was kind of a grim day.
Yeah, Ratlord, I used to buy stickers and I wouldn't stick them to anything. I would just keep them. There were like these Marvel stickers that they used to make in the late 80s, and I would buy them at the local comic book shop. They were like 50 cents a piece, and I had this big collection of them, and I just couldn't. I didn't want to stick them to something because then I'd be like, oh, now it's just stuck there forever. I wanted to possess it. I wanted to like keep it forever.
I've had this sticker for like 2-3 years, and I haven't stuck it on anything.
Yeah,
it's just a witch. It's Halloween time too.
You've had it for 2 years.
Stick it on something. 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
My friend gave it to me before he killed himself, and he killed himself over a year ago. So it's been a while.
Yeah, that's an unexpected turn.
He also gave me a cool Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Golden Girls mashup.
Golden
sticker.
Girls.
Yeah, the Golden Girls, but they were like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the masks, the different color masks, and then in the Ninja Turtle font it said, "Thank you for being a friend."
Yesterday when I was on this live stream, I kind of said I dropped a little bit of what I would call a bomb. Yesterday I said, "Hey, by the way, a little while ago, Eric July sent me." A text which was, I took it as a threat. It was August, I think either 10th or 11th, that Eric sent me this.
August 10th.
This text. And again, you know how I feel about being texted. I don't like being texted. Eric can text me. He sent me.
You know how I feel about being touched. Without consent.
How old is he? Like 50 or something? Like some people would rather just do a call. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but like he's acting like it's like some sort of egregious invasion to get a text.
Usually when Eric sends me a text, he doesn't say hi. Eric has a way of just kind of being like, where'd you get your action figures made? And it's like,
this is accurate.
Though, I'm pretty direct to like pleasantry. Like I'm okay in person with pleasantry, but text are like, they seem so transactional. Like, why do we have to do like, hi, how you doing? Are you having a good day? Like, I don't know.
Because you're talking to humans. Human beings.
I don't know.
Hello to you too. What printer should I use? Hi, Eric. How's your day going? Things like that. I get these kind of blunt demands from him via text. And because, largely, I want the indie comics scene to succeed, I'm polite. People are different. I mean, everybody has a different way about them. It just is what it is. But, he's been texting me for 2 years.
Basically, what Ethan Van Sciver is saying right now is that Eric just is using him. He's using him. He's not a real friend. He's using him.
Yeah, and I guess he's the figurehead of Comicsgate.
I think he probably had some success early on. I don't really know the full story of
he was a guy,
Ethan Van Sciver, but
he was a guy who actually worked in the industry,
Yeah.
Just asking me questions about how to do comics. And I've always been there to help. I think I've, just sort of said, yeah, sure. You could do this, you could do that. This is what we do. What kind of van do you have? A Sprinter van. Now he's got like 2 Sprinter vans. I like your warehouse, bro. I thought that was tight. Now he's got 2 warehouses.
He had warehouse envy, and that's why he went and got his own. That's what happened.
I like how all the poor decisions that Eric has made are to be keeping up with Ethan Van Sciver.
All this stuff. It's just we're in conversation back and forth about indie comics, and it's.
And I
nice.
like how he wants to be successful like Ethan Van Sciver, but instead of putting out good books, he just buys warehouse and Sprinter vans.
Yeah, he buys the material possessions instead of listening, following the example of someone who's successful.
It's nice to get invited to do a cover for ISOM. That was very, very cool. He said when he asked me to do that, he said, "Would you be willing to do that?" I said, "Willing. I'll prioritize it. It sounds like fun. Of course, I'll do that." So all of this stuff.
He said 2 warehouses. He might have been exaggerating. I don't know if Eric has 2 warehouses, but he
has at least one.
The tide kind of started to change, though. I think it really started to happen for me where I kind of got. You can see it happening on Yellow Flash's live stream back in June, where the most important thing to me, of course, is getting better. We have to get better. What is the indie comics scene about? What is it for? What is the Iron Age for? If we're going to call it the Iron Age, what is Comicsgate for? What is any of this? What is the purpose of the culture war? To me, the idea is to create stories independently, which is not easy.
The purpose of the culture war is to lure dumbasses in to buy your product because they. It's more about your beliefs than it is about enjoying the product. I mean, that's what Eric July is demonstrating right now.
We have to kind of scrap a little bit and fight. In order to be able to get the funding and, all of the things that we need to be able to compete with Marvel and DC. It's not easy. Crowdfunding helps. The internet helps and all of this. We got to run little businesses, and running a business all by yourself is not easy. Just isn't easy. It's hard work. It takes up a lot of time, takes up a lot of energy. But none of that means anything. If what we're producing is shit, that's it. I mean, if what we're putting, it's great to get funded. It's great to put comics out there. But if the comics are no good, and if there's no discernible story, and if we don't understand how to tell stories, there is no reason to make a comic book. None. That's, in my opinion, the entire point of making a comic book is not just to make money. It's to actually create a story. That's what you're selling. You're not selling people an object. You're not saying, here, buy this. It looks like a book. Inside of this are stories. They're not very good because this is from when I was a kid. But stories are everything. Stories are where the money is. Stories, they will last forever. They are invaluable. And it's important that we learn how to tell them. I spent my life, learning how to draw. Nobody taught me how to write. And nobody really is teaching me too much about how to nobody has taught me too much about how to draw either. It's just from listening to criticism. It's just from being around my peers. These things have made me become one of the greatest artists of all time.
I like how he laughed immediately after saying that.
You have to listen. You have to grow. This is what's vital. All right. So sitting there, in a situation where I'm on a panel with Eric July and Yellow Flash and a bunch of others, and the topic comes up about Dick Masterson and Vito's criticism. Now, I was aware that Dick Masterson had appeared on Nick Rekieta's stream with Nina Infinity. I'd seen that. And they had this whole thing where Dick kind of just said, I think ISOM's garbage. And, I think it is, garbage, or I think it's a scam, or whatever it was that he said. And Nina said, did you read it? And he said, no, I don't need to read it to know it's trash. And she said, actually, you do. You do need to read it in order to criticize it.
No, I don't. No, it was the other way around, right? Like Dick Masterson read it and said it was trash, and Nina was the one who hadn't read it, right?
Was he getting to that, or is he saying it backwards?
He might be, unless it's happened later.
Or did Dick turn it on her because Dick's a fucking brilliant conversationalist and say, "Well, have you read it?" That might have been where she admitted she didn't read it,
which is true. So Dick Masterson went and he read it, and then he made a list of criticisms. He went through it page by page and talked about it. He typed up what he was seeing and little mistakes that
James Stewart,
he saw.
at that point, neither Dick nor Nina had read it. Yes.
Okay.
I knew Dick
Thank
had
you
not
for
read it because he
clarifying.
went and made a big thing about reading it on his show afterwards.
He was going.
And
his
Nina
thoughts.
made a big thing about, I finally read it. I finally read it. I read it now, guys. I did the thing. Huh.
As he was going, and then he wrote a nice summation of the story structure problems, and the fact that there really was no story structure. It didn't follow any known kind of story structure. It didn't have rising action. None of the characters were introduced in the first act. There were all these questions about who they were, what their motivations were. Their motivations were unclear. So on and so really good criticism. And I saw that criticism. I was actually envious of it because it was professional criticism. And normally people have to pay for that kind of stuff. You have to pay to have somebody go over your work, right? The only other way is if the fans are reading it and they're posting their thoughts. But none of the fans are reading the comics, it seems.
Nobody is posting their thoughts about these fucking books. The people who are talking about these books are defending the ideologies that they believe they have to defend around the books.
Detractors.
The few critics that bothered reading the book were like, well, it could be promising. Like that's like the best reviews I found of it.
Yeah. There were some like semi-positive ones for sure.
Fans aren't reading the comics. The people that are getting the comics are making these. I got it, like videos, but nobody's reading them.
The same way
it's a pretty good
Gary
criticism.
V guys bought all of his stupid fucking books and then just posed by them in pictures, thinking they were going to get the cool new NFT out of it.
Of our entire community,
They're scammed.
our books aren't being read and discussed. But it almost seems like
And I
that's
hope
not the
all
point.
of you pose next to our stickers too. Don't stick them on anything. You don't read comic books. You don't stick stickers.
The point is just paying for them to get made, and that's important. We got to do that. We got to retain our focus on that. But there's a follow through where you read the books and you go, is this good? Was this not good? Am I going to back it again? Am I curious about the story? Is there any insight that I might be able to offer to help the creators? That's not really being done. But here it was. Now, I was aware, of course, that Dick Masterson had said some pretty nasty things about Eric July. He said, I think his whole business is a scam. That's not that's a tough thing to hear. I don't agree with that. But on the other hand, I looked at the notes and I agreed with the notes. They were really, really good notes. And then this thing came up where Eric said, I'm not going to follow the notes because they weren't offered in good faith. And I struggled with that because when you distinguish between good faith and bad faith, when you basically are absolving yourself of the obligation to respond with intelligence, respond with a comeback, with anything, or even just listen to it. You don't have to heed any criticism when you just write it off as bad faith criticism. You don't have to. That is disturbing to me. So we get to pick and choose when we hear, what we take in, what we're going to acknowledge, what we're not. I don't like that. I like Eric July. Obviously, it's like I support ISOM with all my heart. I'm here telling you guys to buy it. I'm promoting it. Both books, I was here really selling it with all my heart. But this thing about I don't have to listen to this criticism when it was good criticism because the story was absent. I'm sorry, it was confusing. It was absent. Shit. Eric is a novice comic book creator. He's somebody who's coming in off of wherever
That's just like your opinion, bud.
My absence.
Whoa!
My apartment flooded in September, and I've had to deal with that disaster before I could give you my money.
Well, thank you for getting that done, so we can get to $665.66.
That's a very valid reason, and I'm not like, where the fuck what was it? Don Doodles? Is that who gave that?
Yeah.
I was like, where's the fuck Don Doodles? His apartment flooded. Why the fuck isn't he paying me? No, I appreciate it. Thank you. We're now at 83%. We're marching closer to the goal. It's been a really good night.
Ever since Hawkeye left, we've been having impossible to hit $666.66 nights. I don't know if Don Doodles did that on purpose.
Maybe.
But it's been happening a lot where it's been $1 off hitting that number. And it's been since Hawkeye left because Hawkeye would always get us to 666.66. And since he's been gone, there's been so many weeks where we skipped over it by $1 or skipped under it by $1. And you can only do $2 donations, so it's not happening again tonight.
He's been in
hilarious,
but he hasn't written a comic book before. He hasn't drawn a comic book. Obviously, people who do this spend their entire lives learning to do it, and it isn't something that you can just pick up and run with. Even though you can raise a lot of money, you can raise a lot of money if you are somebody who has an audience. I knew this way back when I was telling Comicstorian and Comics Explained. I said, you guys have 1 million subscribers. Why are you just talking about other people's comics?
Another
Why are you crowdfunding?
Damn. Billy caught on to my little taunt too quickly.
Was it a taunt?
I'm just saying, Don, genius minds, my friend. Genius
Is that what it
minds.
was? Was that what it was? Okay.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even notice that until you mentioned it, and then
in your own comics, you could be beating Marvel and DC. You have it. I mean, obviously now we know that 9% of a person's following, when it's their own following, will probably purchase a comic book that's made by the person, that influencer. We've seen it happen. So they would have just been amazing. They said, we're not interested in doing that. We don't want to do that. But I always knew that this kind of a thing would definitely work. Question is, are you going to work at becoming a better comic book creator? So I see, and I know people disagree with me about this, but there's no such thing as good faith or bad faith criticism. I'm going to say that again. There's no such thing as good faith or bad faith criticism. There are people who like you and hate you. But there's valid criticism and there's invalid criticism. Okay, that's it. Valid.
But okay, well, I mean, that's kind of. I don't want to defend Eric July, but that's kind of what he meant by bad faith, is that he considers it to be invalid. So
no, he's not saying it's invalid. He's saying he won't pay attention to it because it's coming from a bad faith actor. He's ignoring it.
But in that vein, he's saying it's invalid, right? The criticism.
But it's not invalid. It's he won't accept it. you look at criticism, and there's valid criticism and invalid criticism. You have to, as a creator, you have to be able to differentiate the two, because you should be able to look at somebody who doesn't like you and take words that they're saying that are critical of you and make you better if they're right. If you ignore what everybody says because they don't like you, you're a lolcow.
Criticism can come from people who love you. Valid criticism can come from people who hate you. And as I said back then, and I was trying to say this to Eric, and he just wouldn't listen to me. You know, it's like it drives me nuts, because I know when I'm making sense and I'm being ignored. It's like this isn't good. This is hard to take in. But the best criticism that you're going to receive as a creator in this space is going to come from people who hate you. Yes. When somebody like Vickyverse or somebody like Mike Partika, who I don't think hates Eric, but definitely wants to make himself look smarter than Eric, that kind of criticism is largely going to be detailed. It's going to be cruel. It's going to be cutting. It's going to be to the point. And it's going to, the reason why is because they want to make themselves look smarter than you. So that kind of criticism is going to be the best criticism. Criticism from people who like you. Every now and then it's going to be really good. I got Bill Willingham to give me like 58 pages of criticism, but although he found 10 or 11 things that I needed to change, most of it was like a nice warm back rub. It was just like, this is really great, Ethan. And why? Because he likes me. You know what I mean? It's like, he's not going to be mean to me. He's not going to go through and pick out all the little flaws. He'll pick out the big ones. He'll give me some good direction, but he's not going to really be, he's not going to cut me with a scalpel and find all of my weak spots and all that stuff. That's something that somebody who doesn't like me is probably more likely going to do. And by the way, that's not always true. People that hate you are also going to say stupid shit, and they're wrong. And people that like you can also occasionally give you great criticism. But the point is, it's not about who likes you. It's not about who approaches you in good faith. That's irrelevant. It's about criticism. Is it right or is it wrong? And if you're honest with yourself and you're in touch with yourself as a creative person and you understand story, you understand you're close to your story, maybe too close to your story, you're going to recognize valid criticism as being valid criticism. And other people will recognize
you should even take invalid criticism in. You should say, you know what? Why do these people hate me so much? They want to fucking call me a dog fucker all the time. You should look into that and ask why
I'm a dog
these
fucker.
People are invalidly calling me a dog fucker. What's making them say this about me? You should still look into all the negative stuff, the bad faith stuff.
Other people will see it and they'll say, yeah, that is valid. So Eric and I were at an impasse at that point. To me, when you say there is good criticism, there's good faith criticism and bad faith criticism, we're in trouble. You're determined not to grow. He's sitting there saying things like, well, I'm going to listen to people I respect. And it's like, well, I mean, that's good too. But sometimes people that, you like and that you have a good relationship with aren't going to be honest with you for several different reasons. One of the reasons might be that they're on your payroll. That's one of the reasons.
Ayo, yes, man, on the payroll.
So
big truth bomb from Ethan Van Sciver.
Anyway, I
like
really
how he's one of the
flummoxed
few people that can stand up to Eric's bullshit because he's independently successful on his own. He still, is in the circle and wants to support. So he gives Eric tons of leeway. But
he only did,
that,
as far as I know, he only did one actual job for Eric. Like he did the cover of one of the ISOM one.
Yeah, but he's given him all these suggestions and all these tips on how to run a business. He's been very much in business with Eric, even if he's not making money directly from it, right? He wants Eric to succeed, but he's also not going to blow Eric's horn like everybody else on the payroll trying to suck up that $6 million.
Well, he even goes into this later. He talks about Chuck Dixon, who's doing like a whole book for him, like a whole series.
Yeah, who needs that money?
Yeah.
But I really felt silenced by it. You know, it's like I'm trying to help you, dude. I've been doing this for 30 years. No. It would, listen, it's in bad faith. They're retarded. He would tell me. He'd be like, these critics are retarded. No, that attitude is retarded. You got to let yourself grow. You got to let yourself listen and get better at this. It's important because a lot of people are counting on you, and a lot of people are investing money in you. And the first one, it's okay if the first one you whiff it a little bit. Everybody does. It's a learning process, right? Of course it is. It's a learning process. When Dick Masterson came on and did the whole thing, they were fighting. They were butting heads. I don't think Dick Masterson did a good job of kind of explaining himself, but Eric was.
And we watched this. This is the stream that we watched, right? With Yellow Flash and all them.
Yes.
When Yellow Flash said Isom could fly.
That you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Do things like he'd get hung up on minutia. Rather than Dick Masterson's larger story structure analysis, Eric would go, it's bullshit because what? Like he grabbed that woman's shoulder. You said that's assault. And Dick Masterson would go, that was a little note that I made while I was going through the book before I gave you the huge analysis at the end of the story structure. And you're basically trying to debunk my analysis, by my overall criticism, by focusing on jokes.
Stephen Andrews says our critics are to correctness what I am to slimness. You can definitely be a critic of art. There are rules to art. When you know those rules, you're able to break them. And when you don't know those rules, you're still able to put out provocative pieces, right? But you're also able to say whether something is art or whether it's schlock that's being sold to people for a quick buck, right? You're able to look at something and critique it as being art or schlock.
Someone said ad rolls, Ben? What do you mean? Are you saying I have rolls? Yeah, kind of.
They're saying that you have ad rolls running on the stream.
Yeah. Is that a new thing or what? Haven't we always have ads running?
Well, I don't know. They need to answer you. You're the one that asked them.
Well, I don't even know. Yeah, I've always had ads turned on the stream, and in the past, YouTube has fucked me and not played them because they thought we were naughty boys, but maybe they realize we're sweet boys and they'll play ad rolls now. I don't know. Is that a new thing? I don't know.
Basically, oh, that's great. Isom walks up to a woman and assaults her. Real funny. Technically, that's assault when somebody you don't want grabs your shoulder and you say, get off of me, and they don't. That is assault. It doesn't mean it's not this, but it is assault. It's still a joke, and it was minutia. It wasn't important, but it seemed to be the kind of technique that Eric was using to avoid receiving the criticism. And I sat there the entire time
seething, biting his tongue,
head down. Because look, my audience is a lot of you guys are his audience too. I don't want to upset you.
There's
guys.
Crossover. A pretty good amount of crossover.
And it's a bad spot to be in. So I eventually said to Dick Masterson at the time, hey, listen, the reason why he's not listening to what you're saying is because you called his business a scam. It's nobody wants to hear that. He's not going to be receptive to what you're saying because you started out by calling his entire marketing, his business a scam. You can't, he's shut off now. It's normal. That's a human reaction to that. That's fine. It doesn't, I still disagree that, your criticisms aren't valid. They're the best criticisms I've ever seen. The best, story. I haven't seen anything like that in a while. But Dick kind of went, oh, Yeah, I see. I understand. And the whole thing, he apologized to Eric.
He actually did in that stream. He was like, I'm sorry. Like, it seemed genuine. I'd have to watch it again, though. Maybe it was like a weird, sarcastic apology. I don't know.
I mean, it could have been a genuine apology for saying that I called your whole business a scam. Like, hey, here's what I'm saying. I will apologize for calling your business a scam. Now, will you take this criticism I'm giving you and give it a fair shake, since I admit I shouldn't have called you a scam?
For it. It was it was fantastic YouTube. People talked about it for weeks, but it was really uncomfortable. And then I started to find that, like, from there on, I would make statements, and I would say something like, guys, again, criticism is really important. It's important that we as a community of creative people in indies learn how to tell stories. It's important that we read the stories and offer criticism and insight in our feelings and reactions to those stories, or this thing can't grow. What's our purpose here? Our purpose here is to make comic books so that we can affect the culture. We're free to do it. We can do whatever we want to do. We're free from corporations guiding us and saying what's okay with them and what's not okay with them. Comicsgate and indie comics means freedom. It means total and complete creative freedom. So what are we going to do with it? What do you want to do with it? I mean, it's amazing. I think about it every day. When I wake up to work on Cyberfrog, I think
I don't know
whatever I want.
Like, watching this video is the first time I had even heard of Cyberfrog.
And there's no editor.
I don't know what it is.
Who can tell me that I can't take the story in this direction. I can't make this point. Nobody's going to say that scene is sexist or that scene is racist. I mean, I don't put sexism or racism in the comics, really, but I could if I wanted to.
Are you really trying?
It's awesome.
Are you trying?
It is totally awesome to be this free, but it is amazingly important that we tell stories. So when I say things like this, and I say creatives, it's on you. It's on your shoulders to be creative and to make creative choices, receive criticism, grow, learn from each other, get better, make better comics. And then 30 minutes later, Eric July is tweeting out something like,
Comicsgate comic scene.
The creative aspect of this is easy. It's the business that's hard. I'm going to give a lecture on how to. It's like, I know you're looking at what I'm saying and you're directly refuting what it's like. I'm noticing it. It's like
Variant's responding to him saying, I could put racism and sexism in the comic book if I wanted to. It's awesome. That's a suspect statement. I think to defend that statement, it's awesome for him to know he has the power to create art that he wants to create. He doesn't have anybody telling him, no, you can't say this because it's sexist or racist, because he might believe, like a lot of people might believe, that some people in power will say things are sexist and racist that you don't intend to be sexist or racist, and you'll have to change your art because you don't believe it's sexist or racist, but because a corporation thinks it's sexist or racist. You could think it's awesome that you have the freedom to do what you want, right? And I understand why you think that's suspect, right? It does sound sussy, but I would like to have the freedom to be sexist and racist if I wanted to, which is why I do Drunken Peasants podcast.
Oh, yeah. He got the sexism and racism package when he first joined. We were like, welcome.
Yep. Yep. I've seen the old episodes.
Space Girl number 5 says, looks like this guy's wearing some sweet overalls. Yeah, we were mentioning that earlier. They're probably like Philadelphia Phillies branded overalls.
They are. He showed the logo on the chest earlier.
Yeah, so
creative is not easy. Stop saying it's easy. It isn't easy. It's not something that you can just not care about. You have to pour all of your energy into a story. You have to, or it becomes muddled and convoluted. You need to make your characters need to live and breathe. This isn't making hot dogs. We always call it compare the business of Comicsgate to being a hot dog salesman. in the sense that that's how we treat our customers. But these are not fucking hot dogs.
Yeah, a hot dog is easy. Like a good hot dog is easy to make and throw together and pump out and give to people. Writing a comic takes more thought.
Tell that to
Stuart
Hebrew
has
National,
talked about
Ben.
supporting Cyberfrog in some of his videos. This must be a very difficult time for him.
Oh, I don't think he's mentioned this at all right now. Like he is torn. He is definitely
I wonder
torn.
which side he would take. If
Eric's,
he would take Eric's, or you think
dude,
so?
he's gone all in on Eric. He is all in on Eric, and that's how you know their shit is so stupid, because he won't ever, like, he'll never, no matter what Eric July does, he'll defend it. Like, no matter what, 100% defend everything. Like he won't be like, oh, I didn't like when this character did that or whatever. He won't do that.
Well, it's because he doesn't have the mental capacity to not like something. He likes what he's told to like, and he sticks to it.
See, I already see people talking about hot dogs. No,
Yeah.
a good hot dog is not hard. Like, to cook the hot dog itself, not necessarily that hard. Like, it's not like cooking like a Wagyu steak or something like that.
Well, they could be talking about the entire process of making the dogs too. Like, where you're gonna find the right beef, you're gonna find the right.
Like in New York City, a lot of them are just like boiled. Like if you go to like a hot dog stand in New
I
York,
think they're talking about filling the casings and everything.
no, yeah. I'm not even talking about that. Yes, that's way more complicated than having a pre-made hot dog and cooking it and like putting a bun.
We see how much work. We see how much work goes into a Seattle dog, Ben. They don't just boil them.
It's not that
they boil
much
them,
work,
then
though.
they split them, and then they cook them both sides split.
They split them. They split them because it cooks faster. Split.
Yes.
Yeah.
They put some work into them, and they put the grilled onions on, and they put the cream cheese.
The hardest part about grilling onions is like chopping up the onions. Like grilling them takes nothing.
The hardest part about grilling onions is all the tears you have to cry while you cut them.
Yeah, red onions really fucking hit you. So, like, those are the ones that ruin me the most.
And I only cook with red onions because
Really?
I'm a man that loves to cry.
you like Walla Walla sweets.
No, if you look at all of my onion history, I get red onions.
Really?
I do like Walla Walla sweets, but I
Which
like
are
the
not
red
red.
onions. I cook with the red onions, though. They got more color. I like the color they add to the presentation.
This is art. This is I don't I don't know how to put that across to somebody who isn't artistically inclined. Creative is vital. It is the most important thing. It is the product that you are selling. It doesn't matter how well you can sell shit. You need to make something good. All eyes are on you. Everyone's looking at you. You need to make something good.
I like red onions, but I'll tell you what, like sweet onions, like pure sweet onions, they don't have the acidic flavor. They're just like, well, they have a little bit of it because they're onions, but it's not heavy. It's all just like sweetness. Walla Walla is not racist. It's the name of a city in Washington. I think that's like a tribe, actually, isn't it?
Whoa, that makes it racist.
Really? I should tell the Walla Walla tribe that they're racist for calling themselves what their name is. Then
It's not racist for us to refer to the Walla Walla tribe as the Walla Walla tribe. It's racist for us to refer to the onion as a people, a proud people.
No. The onion isn't the people. That's just where the onions are grown.
I know. That's why we can't refer to the onions as Walla Walla anymore. That's the name of a proud people.
Is it a brand?
Talking about the business.
We have to call them sweet onions, Ben.
Hire
Which is
people
going to
to
be
do that.
out
You
of
got
style
15
soon because the Sweet Boys are rising and we're taking the name back ourselves.
Mr. Sweet Boys Rising.
The next
Got
name
to
for the
keep on rising.
Once the Sweet Boys solidify their place in this world, they're gonna have to call them the Yum Onions.
You know why I've been wearing the hat? Because ever since I shaved with my long hair to myself, I look like a fat lesbian. And I almost got into a fight with a fat lesbian in Portland while I was down
And if
there.
we hit this goal in 20 minutes by 10 p.m., Will you put the hair down and show us the
I
fat
will.
lesbian look?
Sure, whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see the fat lesbian look,
you know what? You know what else I'll do?
20
I'll
minutes.
bring in a broom and start sweeping the floor. It's almost as if I'm a fat lesbian janitor.
Is that what lesbians do? They sweep
I don't know.
floors?
Apparently, that's what they do.
Huh?
I don't know.
Why
Word on the
can't
street.
lesbians?
Word on the
lesbian.
street.
People,
Fat
you're
lesbian.
good. The
They're
business is
calling you
fine. Is it?
lesbian.
I'm not actually sure,
Hey.
but I think it's okay. So this
Yeah, I see
squabbling
you.
back and forth.
I see you, Alcarats.
What started
I
to
see
happen
you.
between I think
I
Vito
know
and
what's
Eric
up,
July, where every
homie.
single day, like on his show, he's talking
Let
about
me have another drink for you.
Vito. And I think I said
Are
something
you
like that. I
drinking
said
tonight?
this is all a distraction from making comics. Like, Vito versus Eric July. This isn't. So I get a message from him that basically says, it's not Vito versus Eric July. It isn't. He's like, this is a one-way thing where he's attacking me and my business, and I have nothing to do with it. And I'm like, every day you talk about it, dude. Every single day.
Thank you.
90% of the way to the goal, ladies and gentlemen. $75 away to Ben's hair down.
Glamour, glitter, fashion, and fame. Gem is truly outrageous. Do you remember that show?
The cartoon Gem, yeah.
Yeah, I even as a I remember as a kid, like the band that they were rivals with was the Misfits. And then I got older and figured out like the real Misfits, and I'm like, wow, that is so weird. I wonder if there was some kind of like copyright shit that happened because of that.
Yeah. Possibly, but it wouldn't. They weren't like branded on a lot of stuff. Looking back at that show, I remember very little about it. The only thing I remember is being at a KFC in Port Angeles, and it was playing on the children's section of the KFC, and that KFC had a buffet. That was probably the best moment of my life. What you drinking today, Ben?
Fremont Brewing Company Dark Star or Oatmeal Stout.
Does it taste like a cookie?
No, not really. It's not sweet. I have had like a milk stout or a cream stout though that was kind of sweet. But I do like this. I like Fremont. Been in some of their tap rooms. So.
Hey, it isn't just one way. So that's when I got a text from Eric July, and I posted that text on Twitter. And the text essentially said, when I got it, I stared at it for a long time. And I was scared. It scared me. And you're not going to know that because, if you're not on the other end of that, if your business doesn't depend on kind of getting along with a lot of people in this sphere. Some people are kind of, you don't really need them. Some people are troublemakers that you don't really need, and et cetera, et cetera. But Eric July shares my audience.
Stephen Andrews says,
So I
Billy,
get
what are
this
the rules to
message from
art?
him.
You can find a lot of rules to art through perspective. You can find a lot of rules to art through technique. You can find a lot of rules to art. When you know those rules, you're better sorted out to break them and do different styles of art. If you don't know those rules, you're still able to do art, but you're not able to just put out something and say, hey, this is art, and expect no reaction to it, right? If you want to play by the rules of art, you can. If you don't want to play by the rules of art, you have to break them in a way that itself is artistic and not just a puddle of mistakes.
A puddle of mud?
And it was just like basically saying, I could quote it. I might as well quote it first. Let me just see it and pull it up so I don't get it wrong.
Hell's Only says that's funny how Skyver wants to talk about relationships, given how he likes to shit on people himself. Is he into poo-poo play?
Be done. And yeah, I am sorry for the people who this.
I mean,
bothered,
even if
because
like
today
I don't know. When I hear rumors about that, like that about somebody, I'm just like, I'm not going to jump in on it. It'd be interesting to believe something like that, but who knows? Maybe he is. Maybe
I got some messages.
Stephen Andrew again says, "I'm talking about artists I like. No one buys art based on what critics say. Implying that I'm too white trash to be an artist is ridiculous."
You know what? That's not true. There are like Santa Fe, New Mexico is a good example of a city where like a bunch of rich.
Can you even eat onions with your new knicker? I mean,
Whoa,
Piker
whoa,
problems.
whoa. Whoa.
Ticker.
Yeah, I can have onions.
They said ticker. Onions
but,
are high in salt. But yeah, I was going to say, before that came in, Santa Fe, New Mexico, it's a place where rich people go just to buy art because people tell them it's going to be valuable someday. Like, they just buy it, like, they just go there and, like, load up on it, like, ooh, this is going to be a big thing. This is like an investment.
Yeah, it's actually crazy how much art is moved based on what critics say.
Yeah, yes.
But Stephen Andrew, you saying implying that I'm too white trash to be an artist is ridiculous. If that's what you got out of it, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. I would never say anything about you as an artist or you being white trash. I don't know you. I was talking in a general statement. I don't know your art. I don't know where that came from. If you feel like I'm targeting you, you need to fucking take some Seroquel, buddy. What the fuck? I love you. I bet your art's fucking fantastic. And if it's not, I'll tell you. I'll tell you it's shit. And I'll tell you not from a critic, but from somebody who talks shit all fucking day long. I'm not even that great of an artist when it comes to a lot of forms of art, but I have a divine respect for technique and skill.
I refunded some people. That's okay. It's fine. Here we go. You guys have got to trust me on this, though. Okay, here we go. So this is the message that I received. This is a tweet out of nowhere. And tweets from Eric, they don't come very often.
This is a tweet DM, by the way. It's a DM.
I don't ask for him. I never tweet him. He tweets me.
So when he says tweet, he means DM. He's doing a boomer.
And when he said text.
Yeah.
When he said text earlier, he also meant DM.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Traditional text.
Yeah, it's not an SMS.
So it says, I'm going to be 100 with you and not be public about this. You going out of your way to play the middle of the road publicly with a dude, referring to Vito, that has gone out of his way to work overtime to publicly defame is whack. It's even weaker that you lend credence to their narrative, meaning their criticism. I'm supposed to just go, their criticism was invalid because it was in bad faith. I'm not doing that. He says, I treat you like I do anybody else in this space. That's weird. I'm Ethan Van Sciver. Perhaps you should be treating me differently than everybody else in this space.
I mean, it's true. Ooh. He is like the king of this space, and he's actually a successful comic book maker. He has a warehouse because he needs one. Like he actually needs it. You know, like it's so stupid. It's like Eric July got all this shit just so he could feel like he was on the same level as Ethan.
Well, that's because he needs to convince himself he is. He needs to convince his fans that he is, and he can't do it through releasing content because his content is shit.
There you go.
I'm somebody who's been doing comics for 30 fucking years. I was nominated for an Eisner. You sitting there telling me that I'm receiving...
I don't know what an Eisner is, but I'm guessing some kind of comic book award.
Equal treatment.
It's a Disney award.
Oh, it's named after Michael Eisner. Okay. Wow. That's
to your fans is interesting. And I do not use my platform to amplify narratives that go against others I'm cool with. Everybody I do shows, streams with knows not to bring up gripes with people I'm cool with, as I will not give it the time of day. He says, I'm going to start reciprocating on that. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. To me, I hear this. He goes, if you want to chat about it, you're free to call. So we did. We got on the phone. To me, I received this as...
The Eisner Award is after Will Eisner.
It's not Mike. Oh, you tricked me.
Well, no, it's still a Disney thing.
Is
Will
it a Dis-
Eisner was.
Oh.
Yeah, Will Eisner was probably Michael Eisner's dad.
Oh, he like created an award named after his dad. The Michael Eisner era was like my main memory of like the Disney, like the 90s Disney era. You know, he used to host The Wonderful World of Disney on prime time back in the day. Yeah.
Stop criticizing me in public, or I'm going to basically I'm going to unleash influencers who want to go at you. I'm going to tell them they can go ahead and go at you. It was a threat. It was just a threat. It was a nicely, carefully worded threat.
It actually has nothing to do with Michael Eisner.
Okay. Damn it, you
They're
keep
not
tricking
related.
me.
But the fucking Will Eisner Award has the fucking Disney font in it. It's the fucking Will Eisner. I swear to God, if you look at the fucking award, it's got the Disney. It's not showing.
It's
up.
hard to see.
It's got
Yes, that
it's
does
got
look
the
like,
fucking Disney font,
which is
So it's-
which is Walt Disney's handwriting, is what the
Yeah,
Disney
so-
font is.
So for him not to have anything to do with Michael Eisner, but the fucking award is in the Disney font,
And it's on
I
a
think-
globe.
I think it's pretty easy to say somebody's fucking with somebody here.
So I sat on this. I called him. I talked to him. I said, "This is a threat, Eric. You're threatening me." He goes, "Threaten?" I go, "You know where I'm from? I'm not stupid. This is a threat. You're basically telling me that if I don't shut my mouth."
Hell's Only says, yeah, because they all wrote script that way back then. They all wrote like fucking his handwriting. They all stole Walt Disney's handwriting back then. Somebody's fucking with me. I'm being gaslit right now. I'm calling the
nominate
police.
Ben for an Eisner Award.
Hey, Rat Lord.
Thank
somebody
you.
needs to nominate Ben for a
Rat
fucking
Lord,
hair down award.
Is it okay if I have another drink? Because I heard you might be concerned that I'm drinking too much. So I want your permission. Just let me know.
You're going to allow your friends who are in high places, who are influencers on YouTube, to attack me. That's what you're saying here. And he was like, I said, Eric, I got to tell you, I got to be honest with you about all this stuff. We got to be able to talk about this stuff, you and I. You know, I mean, I give you advice, and you just, you know, basically don't listen.
So Hell's Only is telling me the Walt Disney font was stolen from other creators.
Was it? Okay,
Like
I'll
how he
admit
stole credit
ignorance
for
on this
creating Mickey
one.
Mouse. I'm learning right now. I'm learning through stupidity, which is my favorite kind of stupidity.
Mistake not to listen. I'm giving you decent advice. It's leading you down a path where it's making your life more and more difficult. And you know, he said, you know what, Ethan? He said, you think you're more important to indie comics than you actually are. And then he choked on the last word and kind of pulled it back.
A guy who's been asking him for help all along the way.
Yeah, what the fuck? Oh, no, Eric thinks he is indie comics now, right? Do you think he kind of...
Eric's a fucking dumbass. He could think anything. He thinks he's a fucking indie comic creator.
Delusions
he
of
barely pulls
grandeur.
that off with $6 million.
So I was like, there's a whole fucking shitload of resentment underneath the surface of this that I've just kind of tapped into. Eric seems like a nervous wreck. So I talked to him and I said, I understand why me disagreeing with you.
Oh, damn.
Keep fucking drinking.
God damn it.
Drunken Mechanic Raymond.
It's only something people have been paying me to do for a decade. Should I stop? Should I keep going? I don't know.
Just try not to hit episode 308.
I'll tell you what, this floor looks dirty though. I don't know.
So it's worth puking on, so you'll clean it?
Dude, I puked the last spin till you spew. I puked all over the fucking floor, like just to my right here. That's how I spun a double shot and did it both like really quick and then just like rah, like I was trying to hold it in, but it was already in my mouth. You know what I mean?
You should have done the gentleman thing like
And
I
swallowed
did Ben,
it?
and puke all over your fat gut.
No, I didn't want to do that. So because the floor here, you know, is easily cleanable. There's no carpet or anything. So
We have about 5 minutes left to see lesbian Ben's hair down. We have $53 the goal in 5 minutes, guys. Deal's off. If we don't hit it by fucking 10 p.m.
Doe.
Might cause you stress.
Deal dough.
And I will try not to do that, but don't threaten me like this ever again. And he smiled and went, okay, we're cool. So I sat with this since August 11th until now. And I thought about what a coward I am for not immediately exposing this, for not immediately sharing this. I should have done it right away. And not because I'm mad at Eric or anything like this, but this isn't cool. Like, is he doing...
I'm sorry, Space Girl number 5, but beer is delicious, right? It helps break the fast.
That's debatable. Maybe a framboise is delicious.
Doing this to other people? Because everybody seems to be afraid to, like, read the comic and criticize it or offer genuine criticism. Everybody seems afraid. That's not what Comicsgate is. You know, that's not what Comicsgate's supposed to be. It's like people are supposed to be making comics and having... It's like, this wasn't so good. This could be better. Reviewing comics. You know, I mean, certainly when Cyberfrog Bloodhunting came out, there were nobody was afraid to criticize it. And I listened. And that's why Wreck Planet is as good as it is.
I haven't read it. I don't want to assume, but okay, I'm going to assume that it's probably better than Isom.
Of course.
Well, he has connections too, right? Like he even admits here, like he's not a writer. He's just an artist, mostly.
No, he said he...
right? Isn't that what he said?
He said he worked on being a artist. He said writing came natural to him. He said storytelling is the most important thing.
My bad.
He said he worked on being an artist. He had to work to be an artist. He said that writing was something that he just initially pulled him in.
I see. Okay. That was my bad.
But I sat with it for a long time, and then I started to see him and the Nick Recato
Hell's
thing.
Only says, yeah, it's better, but it's still crap. I think most fucking comic books are crap.
I haven't bought a comic book since I was like 12 years old.
And I only bought them because they had big boobies on the cover.
Not me. I have been thinking about buying the like hardcover version of Neil Gaiman's Sandman series because they put that out, which is kind of cool. I really enjoyed that. I was a big fan of The Crow as like an edgy middle schooler teenager, and I met James O'Barr, and I actually have a sketchbook that's only James O'Barr, where like there's like 3 pages where I had met him at 3 different Comic-Cons and had him draw like an original piece on each page, which was cool.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I would just walk into the comic store and be like, "Shopkeep, give me the new Lady Death."
I remember Lady Death.
Shopkeep, I want the Lady Death. She has boobies.
She was like a weird albino woman, right?
With boobies.
Yeah. All right, I've drank a couple beers and now my bladder. People were joking that I needed like a weird like bladder pump thing for the show.
You have to go empty it now?
I do. I'll be right back.
I'm here for the boobies. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been one of the greatest days in history. You have anything you would like to ask or say right now? Put it in chat. I'll answer. Alive. This is the best Saturday this week. Reverend Veritas approves. Steven, if you're watching, I didn't see a reply. I thought you were going to reply. I've been looking for your reply, Steven. I hope you didn't take offense to what I said to you. I apologize. I see your reply right now. You said, I'm talking about artists I like. No one buys art based on what critics say, implying that I'm too hard. No, that's the last one. That's the last. Fuck, Steven. Fuck, where are you, brother? Shithead. Damn it, Seth. Damn it, Seth. Did you see the Daily Wire teaser of their version of Snow White? I heard it's starring Ben Shapiro. I would love to see that. I did not see it though. I'm just a bill. I'm only a bill. You bought a bunch of old lady death purgatory comics for $1 each. Oh, that was the best thing. We're going through the old dollar bin that nobody wanted and finding comic books that you probably didn't even care to read. I would always pick up Deadpool comics. God damn it. I always pick up Deadpool out of the dollar bin. Getting your $2 giggle donos. Fuck that, Seth. Look, stop. See Ben Shapiro at his acting debut. I hope Ben Shapiro put his Abigail puffers on the front. Like his sister Abigail, she's got her own little set of lady deaths. You know what I'm saying? If he wasn't big boob Snow White, then he's a fucking fool. Better have them big old puffers. My pronouns are huge boobs. Not a very good pronoun. Wasn't a very clever pronoun. Literally just saying huge boobs for the last 10 minutes. What I've devolved into. Matt Walsh should have been Snow White. He knows about trans stuff a lot, so he would have made a good informed decision when it comes to casting himself. Could he, though, Ian Taylor? The one thing I know about Matt Walsh is he's got a fucking... He's
Dude.
Somehow more of a butt sniffer looking person than Ben Shapiro is.
That fucking weird horror video that we watched with Matt Walsh in it last night was crazy.
Yeah, it was out there. We watched that. They did one with Kanye and Alex Jones before, right? Was it the same artist?
I think it looked similar anyway.
And I think they did one with Hasan Piker too. I can't remember if that was them. There's some really good stuff out there in that realm. I love that shit. It's creepy. I love that shit. You guys missed it. Ben, you don't have to be lesbian Ben tonight. They didn't make the goal. One with Tim Pool. That was a good one too. They don't. Eamon Hawk. Yeah, that's the one. Pensive Scarlet.
You know what I'll do?
You know?
I'll put it out there. I'll extend it personally for 5 more minutes.
Five
more minutes starting now. So it would be 6 minutes after the hour right now.
Saying that he's aware that there's a blacklist. And I wondered if I was on it. And I was pretty sure that I was. Because I don't really hear from Eric. But, in fact, that's it. I don't hear from Eric. Not since then. So I started to think about that. And then I started to notice, I started to notice this thing happening where he started bullying Nick Rekieta. And Nick didn't really do anything to him. He started making streams attacking Nick's career and stuff. And I'd be like, what the hell is this? Like, Nick didn't do anything to Eric July, really. You just show me where Nick did anything to Eric. Nick has tried to stay out of it. But Eric will make a video and Nick's like, I got to respond to.
When you don't follow the. Hey, Les Ben, Justin Buckner bought the Les Ben on overtime. Les Ben. Ben looking like a delicious woman. It's probably gonna do some janitorial work. Look at Les Ben. Looks like you're about to go make a quesadilla. You definitely look like you eat the pussy. Fuck the patriarchy.
Yeah, you know what? That was enough motivation to make me drop another 20. Hold on.
Hat back on. But now the hair's down, right?
Yeah, it's down.
Not bad.
Yeah.
This, and he'll make a response, and Eric demands that he come on the show.
Someone told me to cover. Shut up, fat bitch! Shut up, you fat fucking bitch! Dude, did you hear about that stream, the IRL stream that me and Jeff? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy shit!
That didn't go well for Eric. And Nick tried to stop him from saying some of the things that he was saying. And all the while I'm watching this, I'm thinking about the text that I got. And I'm like, I should have shared that. I should have shared that.
Netra Amorosi says half the audience is jacking to Ben right now. You really think half of our audience is lesbian? You really think that's true?
I actually think so. Maybe.
Oh.
And meanwhile, stuff is rolling downhill quickly for Ripaverse and Eric July. The lawsuit is a fucking nightmare. I think it has merit, but I hope I'm wrong. Yesterday I poked my head in his live stream, and I think he was talking about me and his chat. My name was all up his chat, and I was like, "What is this?" Like, I haven't watched him in a while. And so I came on my live stream yesterday. I mentioned it, like I said at the beginning of this. I said, "Listen, guys, I just want to say real quick, Eric sent me this threat like 2 months ago. I don't know." And then I went into his live stream again today, just poked my head in. And again, he's bullying Nick. I don't know why. I don't know what this is with like Nick, and then it's like Vito, and then, Dick Masterson and all this stuff. And, by the way, Dick and Vito are getting everything they want out of this. All they want is attention, but I don't think Nick does. And then my name in the chat saying things like, yeah, Ethan's probably just jealous. Ethan's jealous. Ethan's jealous. What the fuck? Like, I mean, honestly, like for somebody who's like, I want to stay out of it, and you don't talk about me, and there's a lot of like oblique references to people that I care about, and it seems to be making their lives harder. So somebody in the chat said, yesterday Ethan said that you threatened him, and I had the volume down, so I didn't hear it perfectly. Somebody will have to tell me, but it sounded like Eric was saying that he didn't do that. So I said, I got receipts. I turned them over to All Caps Comics, the Twitter account. I said, go ahead and post these, a picture of the text. And I said, this felt like a threat to me. And I mean, I knew what would happen. It's like, I wanted to get it out there, guys. I understand a lot of you look at that and you don't read it as a threat. I did. Okay. I did. Because this is my career. It's my livelihood. The response to it was people making fun of Ava, torturing my autistic daughter, my wife, all this stuff, saying bad things, rip his fans. And I don't blame, like, I don't hold him responsible for his fans. I don't think people should do that. I'm just saying that was the response that I received. That's no fun. He's going to get chat if you shouldn't torture somebody's autistic daughter. I don't think Dick can be held responsible for his fans.
JF did not pick up on that one, right?
He didn't want to torture her. He wanted to fill her with his cum, you idiot.
But having said that, the courts are definitely going to hold Eric responsible. I see so many for Eric's fans.
You guys
in
are
the
sickos.
Trademark lawsuit. Just so that you're aware, that is something that is going to happen. Unfortunately. So that's the story. And I know this is, cost me a lot of money. I'm sure, hasn't actually cost me any followers, or actually my, the All Caps Comics Twitter kind of blew up today. But I just wanted to let you guys know.
Have we been watching it for 3 hours?
All the time that I'm
not 3 hours, but yeah, it's pretty long. It is 2 hours. Did you see the thing?
Holy shit.
Did you see the thing where Riley showed up at Ethan's warehouse?
No. Do we have that?
What's up, Bunny Battalion? It's me, ASE Riley, the king of the Clipperverse. And I'm here to totally vandalize Ethan Van Scott with bunny money.
Whoa. He's
Look at what we're doing.
Killed.
There's nobody who can stop us. There's no...
What the fuck are you guys doing?
I didn't think you were going to be here.
He's always got the Jesus on display. Maybe he stole Isom.
Asshole.
What, money? You're giving me money?
You gave the other guy 41.
He said he's going to... Go, come on. We got to go. Get into the car. We got to go. He's going to call the cops. All right. I pulled up on Ethan Van Sciver and it didn't go as planned. Stop doing this.
Okay, yeah, so that's it. I don't know if it didn't download the whole video, but that was what I got from Twitter. Sometimes the Twitter videos don't quite download completely.
They almost died. What's with the audio cutting out? Trust me, guys, it was racial slurs. If I know Riley, it was pure racism. Yeah, you got the joke. Look, sound is only important if you care about hearing. Nobody complained when we cut out that cool guy driving over all the paraders, okay? We had to cut the sound on that too. Now, because Riley's the one getting murdered, you want to hear it? Sickos.
Okay. So before we wrap up the stream, because we met the goal, we're going to watch a little bit of this Sturgis clip before we call it a night here for maybe like 10 more minutes or so. So here it is.
Hello, everyone. I am Renown Zero. And
I am Renown Zero.
We're back again talking about some more Rippaverse attractors. Specifically, we're going to be talking about Buster Baxter, of course, and actual fandom, and probably Stu, film critics and reviews, because once again,
I'm next up, says Billy. Can I offer you my sister?
Expose themselves.
What does she do? Does she cook? Does she wash cars? Can she fix my toilet? Let me know if she can fix my toilet, okay?
Always tend to show how absolutely mentally stupid that they are. We're going to go over that after we go through some promotion, of course. Starting with some Rippaverse merch. You can get your Rippaverse Comics hoodie, short boxes. I think the last time I checked, there was only 130 of these left. Posters, cover D, shirts, hats, etc. If you're looking to get a great book with some great art, written by Raging Golden Eagle and pencil.
Do we have to do the
Toxic
this
Man.
bullshit?
I love this part. This is my favorite part. What, you don't like
Where
this
he
part?
just shills everybody else's shit?
It's weird because he doesn't get paid a dime for it. I don't.
Yeah, he's supporting. This is called support for the culture.
I love how these drawings have girls that look like they're 5 but have big boobs. I love that. You can get the waifu pillow, bud. You can get like.
Matt Jarbo is asking, why does this guy sound like a nerdier geek getaway?
Dude,
I don't know what a geek getaway is, but
this guy
if he's
is
a nerdy
the,
or anything. I understand it.
This guy is the unconditional Eric July sycophant, and he used to support Ricada. He used to support Ethan. He used to support all these like former allies, and it's like slowly devolved. And no matter what, he will like manipulate reality in his mind to make Eric July right 100% of the time. Eric July Eric July could throw a toddler through a chipper shredder, and this guy be like, I'm Renown Zero. These Whippaverse detractors are talking about how Eric July threw a toddler through a chipper shredder. You know what, bud? That's just your opinion, bro. That's just your opinion that this is bad, bro. It would be like that.
We're going to move over to this tweet.
We have Star Spangled Luchador in the chat. That's a rare appearance. Looks like he's having trouble after being washed up and losing actually mania. He says he needs his real friend right now is the bottle of drunk. Damn, Star Spangled Luchador. He's looking for an opponent at actual mania. Is he going to be in the October Lottoberfest?
Whatever you want to call him. We're going to move on to this tweet, where he's specifically showing people are selling their ISOM graded comics on eBay. What this guy fails to realize is that he doesn't obviously understand how this works. Some of these could have actually been ended, which it might have been the case because some of these here aren't even on eBay. They don't actually show up in the sold listings where he pulled.
Are you writing your memoirs tonight, Ben?
Yes.
Which I will show you.
You've been typing all night long. I want to read them.
The same thing as well. So we'll pull that up real quick. So here's October 19th, October 19th, October 19th, October 19th, October 19th, and October 19th. And I'll scroll down. So the last one here is the 17th, and up here is the 20th. So out of these 4 listings that you decided to show, these 3 here are not there. The only one that's there is this one. That's the only one that's there. Is this one.
So what are you debunking, Sturgis?
So where are you getting these from? I will never know. These were probably taken down as ended. You could have photoshopped it. I don't know what you did, but these are non-existent on eBay. Of course, all of your fans are going to think nonsense, as they do. They always think of stupid things to listen to, like you. But we'll go on over here where Weapon X is showing these are listings that are being put up on eBay. This one actually has one bid. This is obviously a screenshot. And what this guy is doing is being very disingenuous and not showing you the sales that are actually selling, by the way, that are selling for way more than the comic ever costs, because this is what they've done. I've done quite a few videos on this type of thing where they like to show eBay sales, saying that the comic is flopping, it's becoming irrelevant, and not selling for over market value. And I've proven time and time again, these people just are out here exposing themselves and showing you how disingenuous they really are. But of course, when you get called out on your...
What's your favorite part of ISOM? And you can't answer it. That's the thing.
Dog water book.
They have men better than women is the best part of ISOM.
It does get high ratings, though.
Your response is, what is your favorite part?
It's not, God, that shit must have come out in like 2013 or something like that. Whenever around the time he was on Dr. Phil.
ISOM. It's so interesting how they show your eBay listings for your garbage book, right? I understand it's not exactly the biggest own, but it's still hypocritical how you like to sit up here and say, oh yeah, look at the market value on ISOM. But then,
is there anything to like about ISOM? The artwork's okay. I mean, let's try to, like, we read the book together. Is there, like, if you're fishing hard, and I think you can do this. This isn't hard. You can't think of like one good thing to say about it. I think you're good at that kind of stuff.
If I had to, I would say it made a lot of money.
Okay.
But it's just a piece of shit cash grab. That's all it is. There's nothing about it that's impressive.
Like your
it was 100 pages of slow bullshit. We got nowhere. At the end of the first 100 pages, we know nothing about our character other than he can't fly. And he doesn't like being disrespected more than he likes saving little girls' lives.
I heard Yellow Flash say he could fly, and I trust Yellow Flash because he's friends with Eric July. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, if I was friends with Eric July, I too wouldn't read his comic book. So I understand.
This book is probably being sold for less than what it's worth.
He's black?
Yeah, well, there's tons of other comic books with black characters. I don't have to read this piece of shit.
Worth.
He's got a cross above his dick?
Yeah, I could put a cross above my dick right now.
Will you do it? Will you do it?
You know how to cross above their crotch?
Can you take like two pencils or pens and like put a rubber band to hold them together and put it above your dick?
No. Oh, do you know who had a cross above their crotch? The fucking demon girl from The Exorcist. And
your mother sucks cock in hell
with it. Yeah. That's I have to believe, because of Isom having a crotch above his crotch, a cross above his crotch, is that he keeps it there just so if he becomes a fucking demon, he can fuck himself with it. It's got to be the only reason.
On Amazon. But I digress. Very interesting here. What I want to show is this. So I'm going to start down here. You can see it. So you can see some bigger sales of these comics that Buster Baxter and people like Stu from Movie Critics and Reviews, who works for Critical Blast, who is also ban evading because he's a coward. $59, $77, $75, $140. Of course, you always can't. You can't take best offer accepted because you don't know exactly what offer was taken. $101. This one was over $300, which once again,
did fucking
really
Sturgis go and buy these comics for $100 and $200 a piece?
And he's like,
just so that,
yeah,
just so he could fucking own the detractors. I'll spend $10,000 buying comic books so they will think they're selling for $100 a piece.
As if he has $10,000 to spend.
But honestly, this could be Eric July buying the comic books for $100 himself so that his dumbass fans think they have value. Like, we don't know who's buying this shit.
Yeah, how the fuck could the resale, like, there are books that came out 40 years ago that are more popular titles, that are more desirable, that aren't on the market for over $100. Like, that just, like, to think that a comic book that came out a year ago has $100 resale value is just ridiculous.
Even more sketch to see these books go up for $100 and to be bought with one or two bids tops at $100 and $101. To see that happen, this one signed by Eric July is $290 or best offer. Like to see all this stuff coming out like this, it's even more suspect that they don't have higher and lower prices.
$100, $290, $135, which again, best offer.
I love how he goes through lists and he's like, "Oh, this is $125, this is $345, this is $290." It's like, okay, what's the reasoning behind the disparity in pricing too? What is this?
$145, $275, best offer, best offer, best offer, $120. Even
the other night I pulled up Eric July's Social Blade. And
that must have been riveting.
Dude, well, first of all, since this lawsuit was officially filed, he's deleted almost 3 million views worth of videos. Or like privated them or whatever. And
that's hilarious.
And he's consistently for the last 2 months lost 1,000 subscribers a month. So like we lose 1,000 subscribers over like 6 months and he's all over it. Like he's on it like white on rice. But we haven't seen him pull up Eric July's Social Blade ever. So
that's just weird. Like your opinion, bud.
There we go. And we're about to wrap in about a minute here. Thanks to all of you. And I have an extra special announcement for everyone. I'm going to be hosting a live voice chat for anyone who's interested. You can join the DP Discord, and we will hop into the live chat on the DP Discord. I'm going to link everyone in the chat just in case you're not a member of the DP Discord. You can join right now because I am going to be doing a live voice chat. You can all go. Yep, suck a dick up till you hiccup, as a wise woman once said.
You can get bricked up from the neck up.
Ah, dude, I get bricked up all the time. I loved the car chase video. I saw that. It was like the first thing I saw when I opened Twitter this morning, and I watched it while I was half asleep. And I was just like, wow.
It was great to see that chud fatty fucking weirdo almost kill people. Glad nobody got hurt though. He didn't actually hit anybody, did he?
That's the only reason why I played it too. If there was like a part of that video where someone got like run over or something, I wouldn't have played it. Like I don't like to watch videos of people getting killed. So
and YouTube doesn't like it either. So
right.
It wouldn't be good for the channel. And I would have to stop and masturbate once somebody was murdered on camera. It's my kink. Don't kink shame. Yeah. Everybody have a good night. Go to the DP Discord right now and talk to Ben live.
Come talk to me live. I might take my clothes off. I don't know. Who knows? Good night.
Wash your dicks.
Boy, I know this isn't exactly godly to say, but I saw a dragon shopping for clothes at fucking Walmart. He's Mexican. He wants to fuck my mom. The devil and all his little fucking minions sent the Mexican dragon to fuck my mom. Alright, I'll just end in saying this, bro. The Mexican dragon is still a blessing. I want the Mexican dragon to come on my mom, you motherfucker. So with that said, Jared Genesis out, and we will see you guys in Walmart.
What's going on, yo? People don't realize what a loser I am. I've been in this house for over 10 years, so I know how to suck my dick sideways pretty well. I will pee in my own goddamn throat. It is what it fucking is. Plan A didn't work out, so let's 9 to 5 in some way. The most successful people in the world, like Jared from Subway, literally like 4-year-old kiddies. He's like 45. I'm almost 40 now, bro. I'm just too old to bring a child on the internet over to my house. As long as I keep trying to fuck a child on the internet, I will live in some way. The Bible says it best, guys. Whip my ass, papa. I win, bitches.